said I got to say something, baby, hand me the mic. I said I got to say something, better hand me the mic. Somebody hand me a mic. Cause I got to say something, so just hand me a mic. When I need to say something, better hand me the mic. I said I got to say something, better hand me the mic.
So, the watermelon diet, right?
Watermelon.
So we're going to try this.
I think so.
So we're going to do 3 days where we eat nothing but watermelon. Yeah? So, do me a favour, Southpaw. Bring it up, please, what the actual benefits of this watermelon diet are. This seems to be a craze doing the rounds on the socials at the moment. So, I think we'll say, we'll say diet.
Right, so...
What is the watermelon diet for 3 days?
It
Look at that
helps...
people also ask thing. Yeah.
What's it say?
During the first stage, diet is eat nothing but watermelon. The stage usually lasts for 3 days. You may end up consuming the equivalent of 1 large watermelon each day. I can handle that. Burn belly fat. I could do with that. Get rid of the dad bod on that.
What's lycopene? What does lycopene do? It's rich in lycopene.
Lycopene.
You see that? What's lycopene, Southpaw? Is it a good thing?
What?
Google's broke. Computer says no.
Lycopene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
So it helps prevents the oxidative damage oxidative damage in the DNA, lipids and proteins. It modulates immune function and introduces apoptotic cell death.
Well, there's some long words there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Do we take it? It's a good thing. You know.
I believe so. I think the watermelon diet, obviously, you were saying it's some sort of detox for the body.
Should we give it the people like us approval of it's all right, it's pretty decent?
I think we're going to be benefiting from this.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. I'm nervous for it, like.
Well, you think you'd be hungry?
Starving. Like I said, on Sunday night, 11:55, I'm going to scran a lot of food.
I reckon you won't be. If you eat enough of it. If you're filling your tummy with food, you can't be hungry. I think the only thing is you'll get sick of it.
Yeah.
I think you'll crave sugars. Your body does crave sugars. Your body will crave carbs, your chips and potatoes and stuff like that. But I think other than craving that, I don't think you'll be hungry because you've got stuff in your belly, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I think, especially 3 days. I can do anything for 3 days.
3 days.
Absolutely fine.
Do you think any one of us will cave? Or
100% not. I'm a stubborn mule when I've decided on this sort of thing. Yeah.
You're stubborn.
Stubborn as hell, yeah.
Dig your heels in.
Yeah.
So by Wednesday's podcast next week, that'll be our third day. Starting it on Monday, and we'll sort of give a little rundown of how we're feeling.
Yeah. Cleansed, I imagine.
Yeah. Fresh.
Hungry.
So listen to this. Schools are falling down.
Falling down?
Swear down. So you've not seen the news?
No, this is news to me.
Yeah, I've recently started watching Sky News on the morning.
Oh, that's good.
Again,
Yeah.
returned. So loads of kids in England have gone back to school, or they're supposed to be going back to school, and all of a sudden, I don't know why this year. I don't know why it's just come out now, but they found out that a lot. Don't quote me on numbers. A lot of schools are built with, or roofs have part of, I don't know, this particular type of concrete. Now, it's off the back of a couple of schools falling down, I think, or roofs caving in. Right? So now there's this big, kerfuffle, let's say. There's this big carry-on that loads of schools are built with this particular concrete. And long story short, this concrete's not supposed to last a long time. So some of these schools that were built a long time ago, like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
Starting to decay and just crumble.
I mean, number one, why was it built with that in the first place? Yeah. Number two, why all of a sudden? It's like a craze, What happened again? Hundreds, let's have a look. Go at the top, please, Southpaw. Hundreds more UK school buildings could be crumbling. Okay, so 100 more school buildings in England might be crumbling and unsafe, Britain's Education Secretary Gillian said on Monday, after authorities ordered 104 schools to shut
104.
104 to shut buildings with old and weak concrete.
Oh, shit.
I mean, if I was told that at school, right? If when I was going to school, I was told, you can imagine the week before going back after the 6 weeks, you were devastated. You know, you get to the Sunday night, like, you know, you're going back to school for the first day after 6 weeks off, you know.
No, it's a horrible feeling, that.
A horrible feeling, gut-wrenching feeling.
Yeah.
Schools were rough, but if I was told that my school had shut down, oh mate, that would be the epitome of joy. There would be nothing better than that.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like the Bart Simpson classic of it all is like, oh, if the school blows up, fucking get in.
Yeah.
You know?
exactly. But yeah, what do you reckon? Look at that.
104, that's a lot.
I did hear as well on the BBC T's radio, it's affected 9 of the 14 schools in Darlington.
Has it?
Yeah.
So there's schools in Darlington that the pupils haven't gone back, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Happy days for them.
That's a mad thing that, like, you know, you got to think these buildings have been commissioned and built a long time ago.
Yeah.
And you can't really hold the people that built those buildings to account anymore. I guess that a lot of those companies probably don't even exist anymore. So it's just a case of, oh shit, we've got this, the building's fucked, and there's no one we can, you know, turn to or blame or say, why did you do this? Because it's so fucking ancient history.
You would assume that they didn't know that the concrete they were using would...
Unless they were cutting corners, my friend.
Yeah,
You never know.
possibly. Yeah. They just refused to give
But I mean, I remember my school, that used to have like, we used to get, because it was built like flat roofs and stuff like that, and we used to get all sorts of leak problems. Like there's plenty of corridors around the school where they'd have like the bucket down and there'd be water trickling down.
Was it like an old building?
Yeah, it stood a while.
Was
I wonder if that might be one of the 104, I don't know.
Might be.
But yeah, it seems like a massive, someone's really skipped over something and not put enough thought into something when they built it.
I admit, like, I would have been over the moon. You know, that's why I mentioned this, that the schools should have. I'd have been over the moon. Yeah, over the moon. I mean, I bet a lot of kids are. Chuffed to bits. Chuffed to bits.
You know, it's a double-edged sword, though, because you got to think a lot of these kids will also have been the ones who ended up missing school because of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine they've just caught up. I'd imagine after coronavirus, once lockdown ended and stuff, they had a lot of work to catch up on. And they probably got caught up and then, oh, fuck, my schools fell over.
Or fuck, or yay, you know.
Depends.
Yeah, it depends on the pupil, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to go into Cambridge, oh, shit.
Yeah, there'll be some
future
kids.
prospects.
You know, actually, I think there was some benefit to the COVID I have a sister who was, at the time of COVID and like the whole, you're not going to school for ages, like at that time, I think she was doing GCSEs at that point. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, I mean, I could be saying this wrong, but I'm sure there was something about that because they'd missed school, they got some kind of like leniency or some kind of like helping hand, if you like, with exams. You know, basically, like from what I hear, some people were getting grades that they probably couldn't have got, you know?
Yeah,
to get them
I
through.
think so. You get like predictions before you actually go into the exam.
Yeah,
I suppose. So I think I'm pretty sure they just went off theirs for some students, depending on their age group.
Which is great for some people.
Yeah,
you know, it would have been great for me.
Yeah, I don't exam well, so no, I would have really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean those exams, you crumble under pressure, don't you?
Oh, horrible.
They were awful.
That whole period's just horrible. Back end of like year 10, year 11, you're just in and out of that exam hall. Horrible conditions.
Yeah.
As far as I know, that happened like across the board. It wasn't just GCSEs. Obviously, A levels and university degrees were all affected. Mm-hmm. And I was fortunate to be a part of said university degrees that got that leniency. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I didn't deserve that 2-1 that I came out with, but I know it. But I know in second year I did like fairly well, and then like that sort of was a massive part to my grade. And third year's like normally a lot harder than second.
Yeah,
And it just like that swung a lot of my grade.
that's really interesting.
Did you skive at school?
Me, no.
Never.
I was a good boy, me.
You good boy.
Yeah.
High sets.
No.
No, low
No,
sets.
Low sets.
Huh.
Low
Dumb and
sets.
committed.
Dumb and committed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How low?
Well, I'm dyspraxic. So
I don't know what that
had
means.
like real struggle with learning difficulties. Particularly affected me a lot when I was younger.
You're really intelligent.
Yeah, I've really got a handle on it.
Oh, right. I was going to say that's.
Yeah. Like I was taken out to do like special classes and stuff like that would affect my hand-eye coordination. I used to get maths booster lessons, English booster lessons, the works. It was, potential for me to get support in exams and stuff like that. Like I was nearly at the point where they were deciding. They let me make the decision in the end about whether or not I would be able to dictate my exam. So rather than me doing the writing, because I'm not a fast writer, I would be able to sit with a teaching assistant and kind of tell her what I wanted to say, but I'd have to spell every word out as I was, like for a long term, like a long, what's it called? Long prose English exam where I had to write a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, had a lot of support. So I was, I wasn't bottom set for everything, but I was in the lower sets
Really?
a lot of the time. Yeah.
Do you know that's interesting. That this is something that I don't think schools are accurate. What I mean by that is like, okay, you were classified in these low sets, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would say this person's not intelligent.
Yeah.
That's what it would say.
Yeah.
That's why you're in a low set. Intelligent people in high set. But like, I know you. You're highly intelligent.
I was a different person back then, man.
Really?
Yeah. I was not academic. I wouldn't say that I was like I actually would say that I just didn't really know who I was, I think, back then.
Right.
And I really put myself down because of all this dyspraxia and all the extra help that I got. I think I put myself in that category of as like let's just not try because
You think?
I can't achieve potentially. Yeah, I don't know. Looking back, maybe. Yeah.
You went to you did A levels, right?
Yeah.
So how did that translate then? Because if you were in these bottom sets, like you need certain GCSEs to get in to A levels.
Yeah.
So you must have got them.
Did all right. Yeah.
Huh.
Came out. I was like C's most of the time. Straight C's.
It's damn
That
sight
was-
better than me.
Yeah.
Huh.
I was still stuck in. Yeah. I was in. I think I had like I think early in my school life, maybe it was like 7 and 8, year 7 and 8, I was just young, like thick as mince.
Right,
I
thick as mince.
Like I was fucking, came out there, I had absolutely no confidence, didn't fit in at school very well, and I was suffering and like I was underperforming in all my classes. And then between year 9, when my confidence started to grow a little bit, there's a lot of factors of why that happened. Once my confidence started to go up, I started to engage a bit more in classes and I started to get better. I think it kicked in at just about the right time for me just to scrape by and get what I needed to get onto my A-level courses and then get onto my uni. My uni courses I scraped as well.
Scraped.
Just got onto uni from A-levels, yeah.
Did you?
Through, what's it called? What is it, man, when you don't get your grades but then you manage to get on the course anyway? It's through... I
Luck?
can't remember. Luck, yeah, effectively it was luck, yeah. It's basically like to get on the course you needed to get like 3 Bs and I got 1 B and 2 Cs and clearing, that's it. So if there's space left on the course and nobody else has applied to it who's achieved the grades, they will start to hand it out to the people who didn't perform as well.
Right.
So I got through on that.
Huh.
Literally through.
Right.
It is effectively luck, yeah.
I may have the wrong disorder here, but I've got the definition of
Yeah,
dyspraxia,
that's
and
it, yeah.
that's a common disorder that affects movement and coordination. It does not affect your intelligence, which makes sense for you, Johnny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess that movement and coordination sort of not being there may play into your sort of, obviously, as you said, confidence and like not believing in yourself, I guess.
yeah.
Well, can I just make a point here? The 3 things it's there. I'm going to like shut this right down. Well, not shut this right down. Okay. The 3 things I can see here is it's intelligence, coordination, and driving. Well, number 1, you pass your GCSEs, you did A levels, and you got a degree.
Yeah. Intelligence.
Intelligence. Next thing, coordination skills. Don't you play multiple instruments?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that out the window. And driving a car. You just did Need for Speed on the back road and got a fine for it.
I ticked it all off.
Yeah.
But like, you got to think. So you're talking about the piano guitar thing. I would imagine, considering the amount of time that I've sunk into those instruments, I'd imagine if I didn't have that, I would be a lot more proficient at it than I actually am.
Do you think?
I think so.
I mean, I've seen a video of you playing the piano, and it's.
I'm pretty damn good at it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, brought a tear to my eye. It was that good. Well, look, I didn't know that. You certainly can't tell that now.
I've worked at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was even like things like back when I was a kid, I used to have to they used to take us out of the separate room and they used to give us I'm left-handed as well, so I had the left-handed scissors and they used to make us cut out fucking worms and shit like that.
No shit.
It was just to practice getting better at using scissors, bonus classes, spending extra time outside of school, fucking tying shoelaces, getting better at that, all that sort of stuff. I was just really, really bad at.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it help, these things?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we did this thing as well. It was called, it doesn't matter what it's called. It was this place that I went to in Sheffield, and they used to strap me up to these machines. Literally, they'd put a pad on this side of my head and a pad on this side so they could follow my eye movement.
Wow.
They could see what I could see, right? This is mad what they were doing, right? And I'd sit in this room and there would be this bar across and there'd be a red dot. And the red dot would move around. And they didn't want me to guess. They wanted me, as soon as that red dot moved, they wanted my eye. They wanted to track how fast I could move my eye from where that red dot was to where it had appeared. And they wanted to see what I was doing and why I was moving that way and try and figure out and see if they could give me exercises to come back and do it later on and see if they could see an improvement.
Wow.
They would do all sorts, yeah. So I'd come away from that place in Sheffield, they'd give us exercises. There was balance things that I had to do. There was bean bags that I had to throw and catch and how to do it.
Oh, I thought you were going to catch that. That was going to prove the coordination.
Thanks. Mate.
Oh well. Yeah, if he caught it, would have threw that out the window. Yeah.
I didn't know what you were doing, mate.
No,
I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought this was for something.
I was just going to be like.
And who knows, if I wasn't dyspraxic, maybe I would have clicked on faster.
Maybe so. Maybe.
But what was I saying? I've totally lost my trail of thought. Oh yeah, so I was throwing bean bags around. I had to do exercises for half an hour on a night, every night for however much, a few months.
So you worked on that shit?
Yeah.
That thing you said there with the things in your head, that seems like some kind of torture.
It's
do they do shit like that now?
It was a weird thing, yeah. I didn't even... You don't hear a lot about them using that, but I feel like they should be. They would use that in more situations than what I went through. Yeah, it was strange.
All
very
the way
strange.
to Sheffield as well, from Lanchester, 2.5 hours for this specialist clinic, was it?
Yeah.
Never. Yeah. How often was that?
I think we only did it 2-3 times or something. Yeah.
Right, and these were specialists at this.
Yeah. I remember going, and it's one of them things where you go and sit in the waiting room and there's other kids who you can say are obviously suffering with a lot more serious learning difficulties than me, to be honest with you.
Oh my God.
And and I would go and I'd sit in this room and I'd just be like, okay, and I'd wait for them to call us, and then they would go and make us do shit like that where I'd have the things in my head, or I'd have to stand on a balance platform and they'd have to see how well I could adjust if the platform just suddenly went whoosh, shit like that.
What?
Yeah. All harnessed up when they did that, yeah.
Never.
Yeah, weird, man.
Well, you've certainly kicked the shit out of that now.
Yeah.
Bossed that one, mate.
Yeah.
I salute you, sir.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, he won there, didn't he?
Yeah, he
work at that, yeah.
Didn't catch it, but he won.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't catch it, but he won, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, you've thrown me off there, mate. I can't get the thought of this clinic out of my head. With these things strapped to your head, it sounds like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Following arrows and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, following lasers on a...
Yeah, just a little red dot.
That's clever. Were you on your own or were you a family?
No, mum and dad were there, yeah, whole time.
Make a day of it. You go shopping afterwards and that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
If you're in Sheffield, you may as well go and have a look around.
Might as well.
It was interesting, yeah.
So is it this sort of stuff?
No, it's a bit more sciencey than this. These were some of the types of exercises I would do, I guess. I had I can remember the worst one, and I was shit at it. They had just a wooden board, a wooden circular board, and then it would just have a little dome in the middle, and you have to try and stand on it and try and maintain balance.
Hang on, bro. Hang on.
That in it.
Can you get a blue badge? Can you?
No, I don't think so.
Fuck.
No.
Is there nothing you could do to wangle one?
I've never tried, to be fair, but
I'll
no.
pay you if you can get me a blue badge. The amount of parking tickets I've had, if you don't want it, you know what I mean? I'll pay you a monthly fee for it.
Right.
I spend a fortune on these parking.
I'll look into it for you, man.
I'm telling you.
I don't think so.
I once tried to get my nana to get me one. You know, because she's old.
Yeah.
We didn't get one in the end.
I keep seeing them videos of like people who like don't have a visible disability getting called out by people who are
Yeah.
probably disabled for using them.
I know.
You're going to be that guy.
Yeah. I know a chap like that. I know a chap that's playing the system.
Yeah.
I won't say who it is, but somebody I see regularly. He's managed to score himself a blue badge. Mate, there's nothing wrong with him. Nothing that would warrant a blue badge.
Yeah.
But he has a blue badge.
What, a guy we all know?
No, just a
Oh.
guy I know.
Interesting.
But yeah.
You were thinking the same person as me,
Yeah,
weren't you?
Oh, I know who you were thinking. No. It's not that guy. No, somebody I know. Yeah, he's got a blue badge, but you know, like he's like he laughs about it. You know that he shouldn't have had a blue badge, but he's got a blue
You
badge.
beat the system in that. Yeah.
He beat the system. Yeah,
Nice.
brilliant.
I'll look into it, man. If I can get one for you.
I mean, it's the first thing I would do. You know, if there's where there's a win, there's a win. You know, you know if you got one, you can park anywhere. You can swing it on double yellow lines and all sorts.
No way.
Is that
Yeah.
a thing? Can you actually
I think
do it?
so. You can park places that other people can't park.
If I take liberties with it, that's crazy.
What's the score with a blue badge? Wit. Because we're cool. Holders are entitled to park on school. What? Not in York, fam.
No, I'm assuming if it's in York, it'll apply to anywhere.
All right. Yeah, you can park single lines. Oh, double yellow lines.
Yeah, for a maximum of 3 hours anywhere.
Imagine. Imagine. You could literally rock up in city centres.
Like, yeah.
Like literally.
You're
like,
above the law
London,
there. That's
anywhere,
above the
yeah.
law.
Imagine rocking up your favourite song on.
You know, dyspraxic me.
Yeah. But winking at people like that, you know, people will know. You see, what you think? He's tricked the system. That's what that is. Yeah, I'd love a blue badge. I'd rock that blue badge. Yeah, I would. Do you park in disabled bays?
No.
I do. I get some looks sometimes. I had somebody once go absolutely crazy with me for parking in the disabled space.
It bothered
But
me.
let me tell you my thought process. Like, I wasn't. Look, if I went to a car park, right, and every single disabled spot was taken bar one, I'm not going to park in it. Do you know what I'm saying? I know the drill. But this particular time, it was at a supermarket, and it was, you know, like on an evening, and they've got something like 3,000 car parking spaces.
Yeah.
Right? There's about 6 cars. You know, it was just sparse. It was literally an empty space. And right next to the entrance was like these 10 disabled spaces. I mean, I'm saying this like as a time that happened. I do this all the time if it's empty. Nobody's going to use them. 10 disabled people aren't going to rock up all of a sudden and want to park. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I'll just swing it in one. No problems. I'm only going to be 10
Not
minutes.
harming anybody.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've done it for years. But yeah, this one time, this woman proper lost her shit like. Yeah.
What did you do? Did you move?
No, it was in my arrogant phases. If it happened now, because I still do park in the disabled bay, if somebody kicked off, I would say, I'm really sorry, and I would get in the car and I would move. I would. But then, you know, I was a bit arrogant, and I think I may have shouted back and got in the supermarket and stuff, you know. Yeah. But, yeah, people don't like you parking.
Yeah.
I've had a few head shakes as well, you know, some of this.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do that really, should you?
Well,
What do you think?
like you say, if the bays are like, if there's like
Only a
you know,
few left.
plenty of bays empty, like it's not going to have. You're right. It's not going to really affect anybody else's life. Like, what's the point in getting all fed up about it?
Yeah.
Just park there, you know.
Doesn't matter, does it?
But then on the same breath, like if there's that many spaces free, I'm sure that there was a non-disabled parking bay that was relatively close.
Oh, thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands, you know. They were just closer.
Me, I would just rather avoid any chance of any confrontation and just not park in that bay just to save myself a battle, a potential battle.
I'm learning this way of living.
Yeah.
It's right.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of problems I've caused myself through silly things like that.
Yeah.
And you can just park, you know, 30 seconds further away. No problems.
Yeah.
You know.
Not working legs on that.
Yeah,
all good.
working legs and that. I admit I might have once parked in a disabled bear and pretended I had a limp when I got out. I might have done that.
I think that, honestly, if I was to use one in that kind of sense, I would 100% limp.
Yeah.
Or something.
Is that wrong?
Put me sunglasses on, pretend I'm blind, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, look, to park in a disabled bear, you know, here's the thing. You know the woman that kicked off with me? How did she know I wasn't disabled?
Yeah.
How did she know? I suppose there was no blue badge.
Well, that would do it.
That would do
but
it.
also, you know, you get hidden disabilities these days, don't you? So you can get a blue badge without necessarily being wheelchair bound
Exactly.
or anything like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So she might have been making the mistake of her life. It turns out she wasn't. She was lucky,
Yeah.
but she could have been.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
So yeah, I'd love a blue badge, like. If you can get one, I'll pay you for one.
I'll do my best.
That could be a side revenue for you.
you.
Can you get...
Rent a badge.
rent a badge?
Yeah.
You know, we reach an agreement,
Uh-huh.
you know, an amount that makes you happy. You know, £50 a month, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, what was that? £600 a year.
Sound.
Imagine that. £600 a year. Just to rent somebody a blue badge.
Is there any repercussions if you start to abuse it, though?
How do you abuse it?
Well, if you're parking on double yellows, a la with a shop. Like,
Well, you're allowed for 3 hours, aren't you?
I would assume that there's like lines that you can't cross on that front, though. Like,
What, you think there's 3 yellow
like
lines?
if there's double yellow lines outside St James's Park on a match day, like, don't park there, fam.
No, probably not. Can I ask, Southport, is it a criminal offence to steal somebody's blue badge? Is that an offence? It's quite embarrassing, that, isn't it? Imagine getting dragged up a court that you impersonated a disabled person. That's not a good. It's not a good look, is it?
No.
It won't go down well. Is it a criminal offence under the 117 Traffic Regulation Act 1984 to misuse a badge? Oh, it's fraud. Oh,
Yeah.
that seems to follow me.
That's a big word.
Yeah,
That's a word that you don't want to be have stuck on you.
it certainly isn't, my friend.
It's
No.
stolen blue badge is worth up to £500 apparently. So your estimate of £50 a month, Daniel, was fairly accurate.
Yeah, I'm a fair man. I mean, you know, it's extra £100 for you there.
Yeah.
Look,
But is it a criminal offence to sell your blue badge on? That's
Well,
what I
no.
want to know.
No,
as long
but
as
no.
the risk's all on him, I don't care. I'll give you it. Yeah.
yeah, if shit hit the fan, I'd say I pinched it. I wouldn't drop you in it. Do you know what I mean? I'd say,
Yeah.
oh, no, he doesn't know.
So,
I've took
Johnny,
it.
this is when I know it's out the window. It can lead to prosecution and a criminal conviction. Let's knock that one on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, especially since we're doing it on a show, like,
Oh,
this is a full-blown admission of guilt here.
Yeah.
This is self-snitching,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Ever
yeah.
see Daniel with a blue badge?
Yeah,
Call
we
him
might
out.
want to cut this bit out of it, you know. So listen, if anybody is pinching blue badges, right, and using them unlawfully, right,
Stop it.
stop it, right.
But get in touch.
We are open to buying blue badges.
God's
You know,
sake.
well, we started off on the right foot, you know.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at the very least, I might get a blue badge.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe you haven't looked into it, mate. The privilege. The privilege. Of course.
Hey, I'm going to Disney in a few weeks. I might just see if I can get the front of the rides and that.
I think you can. You can do this.
Well,
no, you can.
Actually, so
This is like a lane for
There
people.
is, yeah.
My sister went through a dizzy spell, right, before we went to Florida, and she wasn't bad. Like, she could actually still go on all the rides, which wasn't recommended by the doctor, but we were in Disney, paid a fortune. Of course she was going to do it.
Obviously.
Going through a dizzy spell. It's like the worst thing I can imagine doing. It's like, I'm going to hop on a roller
a
coaster.
dizzy spell at Disney, not very
no.
good. But of course,
her on
like,
the teacups.
of course, like, she had like a wheelchair out there and everything. Like, Dad was pushing her around in a wheelchair. My dad, like, he's a bit of a black eyes. He knows what he's doing. So he'd walk up with Beth and he'd walk up to the fast track stand. He'd go, oh, yeah, look at her. I know.
Look
I
at
know."
her.
He'd go, right, okay.
Just like,
And he-
I had a quick word with him
no,
before I
honestly,
just stopped.
And then, like, by the end, by like,
God, no. You can't say that, mate. Look at that.
no, but then, like, by the end of it, by the end of the parks, I had it down to a fine art. He wasn't even saying anything. He was just looking at him, going, "Yeah, where do we get the fast track?"
your sister would just leave some food on her chin.
No, yeah.
I'd go
It's some,
You know, it was so
have some
bad.
fucking porridge
Really
in that
big.
lady.
paint the picture a bit more, you know.
No, it was really bad because we'd go through the fast track lane and like go past all these big long lines, and then my sister would just get up out of a chair all fine and dandy, and it was just.
Savages.
But I tell you what, that whole holiday we went out there with another family, fast tracked everything. We got to do Disney rapid. It was brilliant.
I can't believe
Yeah,
it.
So,
I mean,
just paint the picture though.
No, just to clarify, I don't think he said look at her, and I actually refrained that statement. But yeah,
I could picture it as well.
No.
You're like, look at her.
Your sister just sat there. Like,
no, but my sister's not daft either. She was
And
like,
I don't want to wear a putty t-shirt. No, you can't do that, Dad. Oh no.
no, it's not as bad as I'm painting it. It's probably a little bit
Southpaw
dramatic.
Senior's a savage. Absolute savage. We respect Southpaw Senior.
No,
he
mate.
knows what he's doing. He knows. But get in this wheelchair, you.
Yeah, so
I'm not standing in that queue. It's hour and a half long.
Yeah, I mean, they really don't question. They really don't question it though. Like if you are in a wheelchair, they just don't.
oh god,
It's not worth the chew. It's not worth the chew for Disney. That.
Well,
No.
just paint the picture. I'm going into Disney with Mish, and I'm just like, yeah.
You have to push us around in this
No,
niche.
Here's what we're gonna do. Yeah.
No, genuinely, right? I've just thought, right? Imagine if you invested,
I'm
if
just
you
practicing that.
if you went out to Disney, mate, and you invested in a wheelchair, even rented one, right? And then you just like you took it out, you took to the fast track, and then once you've got your fast track badge, mate, you set
A Disney blue badge.
Just
You
getting
could-
me full with Mickey. And
no, no.
Imagine on your holiday photos.
No, right, all you do, no, mate, all you do, you take a lock for your wheelchair, you take a lock, right, you'd lock it up, once you'd got your badge, once you got your fast track badge, you'd lock up your wheelchair, then you're laughing.
oh god.
Imagine that.
Oh no.
You can't do that.
You can't do that. It's just so wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Stood in front of the queue. There's like kids with Down syndrome still stood behind you in
Come on,
front of the
shift.
queue. I deserve to be here. Oh, you go straight to hell, man.
That's about as bad as it gets in Disney. There's me feeling bad about disabled parking spaces. Southpaw's fucking dad, mate. Pushing the kids around.
No. Me sister was bad.
Look at
No.
No, you can't do that, Southpaw. That's not okay. Oh no.
No, to be completely straight, my sister was bad. You know, she was struggling.
Fuck me.
All
She's doing a lot better now,
She's
right?
yeah. You know what? She got much better the second we got back.
Oh, funny that.
Yeah, coincidence, isn't it?
Seen him in the pool and that the other day, didn't you, Dan?
Oh, yeah, seen her. She's a good swimmer. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's fine. She's doing great.
She got lowered in the pool, but she was a good swimmer.
You know what, though, as well? The dyspraxic thing, 'cause I never heard of that, right? And, like, a lot of people won't want to question it. Like, if you were sat in a wheelchair, right, with your pussy bear top on, saying that, like, no one's going to, it's, you know, could be, no one knows what that is. Do you know what I mean?
How much of this show's usable?
Well, so far, right? No, we have to. Look, it's us, right? It's real.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Rumble, we're with you. You know?
I mean, if anything, we're saying don't do these things.
Don't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
these
Don't do
things.
these
No,
things.
I'm just giving an example of my sister was struggling during this time. And,
Okay.
and that's just
Sure.
an example. No, she was. And she's better now. But like that was one fortunate outcome that came from her dizzy spell.
Your dad clocked that, didn't he?
Oh, he clocked it a
He
mile
clocked
off.
that, like.
Yeah.
Milk that situation. Love it.
But look, do you know what, right? Some of them queues are long,
They are, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, imagine how dizzy she'd have been in them queues.
Oh, yeah, you know, it's only right that she gets on that fast-moving ride with
I
her
think
dizziness faster than everybody else.
It only goes upside down 6 times.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yeah. What a move.
Might fix it.
Yeah, that's a Wilson move, that. Yeah. I think, we need to speak to Mr. Southpaw one day. You know,
Potentially, mate.
he seems like a legend. I've heard little things about Mr. Southpaw.
He just
Chris
keeps
has
trickling
met-
in
Chris
this
has
li-
met him.
these little
Chris met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He liked them.
Seems like they're done. Like,
Yeah.
You do just keep dropping these little nuggets of information.
Well,
where you're just like,
yeah.
We're starting to paint a picture.
If I turn out to be half the man he is, I'll be a happy man.
look, just the last bit because I am actually genuinely interested in this.
Okay.
Right? Just Google how do you get like a disabled pass in Disney?
Oh,
Just out of
God.
curiosity, is it just like a form?
No, I think. Well, we played it. We played it a bit different. We obviously just went up.
So did you just rocked up in Disneyland, right? You haven't informed anybody. You've got normal park tickets, yeah? And you've just said to like one of the staff, "Can you get us a wheelchair, please?" And they've got your wheelchair.
Yeah.
So it's not official. There's nothing like documented. And you have just rocked up to rides and just walked down the fast lane.
No. So you have to go to the fast track section. As far as I remember, it must have been 6-7 years ago now. But as far I was a bit younger, as far as I remember, Dad took Beth off. He just came back with this fast track thing for 8 people. I don't know how he did it.
Just walked up and went, look, clearly she needs this.
No, I think
Look at her.
I think it was a case of like what she was struggling with was I don't know what it was. I'll get you that information, but there was a dizzy thing that she had, and
Be vertigo,
it was
isn't it?
really bad. Like if she looked at them lines on the walls, like she'd be very dizzy during the stage.
Yeah.
And then Dad would obviously go to this fast track centre and say like, listen, she can't be waiting in no queues, like, and then.
Not with this dizziness, no.
No, with this Disney, she needs to be straight on the Disney ride.
Yeah. Get her on
Yeah,
them
so it
coasters
says here
fast
that
enough.
there are 2 ways to register for a Disney Fast Pass, and that's a pre-arrival via video chat. It might be different now, or on-site guest relations, which is, imagine, the route that my dad took.
Yeah, on-site guest relations.
Yeah.
I'll let you know if I try it. If I get to Disney, I find these queues are a bit long. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
like, here, Misha, come with me.
I mean, I'm going next year,
Yeah.
and I'd be lying if I said I'm not going to try.
Well, if I get that blue badge, mate, I'll lend you it, and then you can prove it when you get there.
Yeah, you can just rock up with it, right?
I
It's your
guess
blue
so.
parking badge. Look, mate. Fucking serious, this, mate. Do you know what I mean? Can't be standing no queue. Yeah. Can you get a fast pass for ADHD? Because that's easy to get diagnosed with ADHD, right?
I don't think it's easy.
Never tried, mate.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Because of course you've got attention deficit. You can't stand still.
Stand for 90
You
minutes.
need to be
or something
on
in
that
a queue.
ride and off.
Yeah.
I think with Disney as well, like they've got to be careful. Like they don't want to fall. Like there's so many phones and stuff going out, and if they get caught out for something like this, it's going to go global. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, you could literally walk up to the customer relations, right? I mean, I bet a lot of this is just done on like trust. The way they will see it, right, is 99% of people wouldn't be as savage as Mr. Southpaw. Okay, that's the way they'll see it, right? And that nobody would come into. I mean, what sort of a maniac, right?
It would take a real despicable human.
What kind of despicable human would rock up in the most magical place on this planet, right? And fraudulently pretend. I'm not saying your dad did it. I'm just saying.
No, my sister was.
Yeah, she was genuinely bad.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this might be just down to like a trust thing. Like you said, bring in all the factors. Disney, of all people, they've got to have a clean record. They've got to be perfect.
If they turned somebody away and it turned out that they had a condition,
And something happened.
That's bad.
And they had like a freak out in the queue.
it's meant to be the happiest place on earth, man.
I bet it is when you've got that pass.
I'm just saying it was very like you saw the waiting times like 2 hours long, and like you might be waiting in queues for like 6 hours on just to like do like 5 or 6 rides. And
I've
it's
heard.
like,
Yeah.
I've heard this is the
it's
thing.
just like actually we didn't wait longer than 20 minutes. I don't think.
Yeah, I've heard that you have to like plan rides for particular times and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
because it gets crazy.
Yeah, you're best off
a
doing
lot of
that.
it's app. I don't think they do the full on fast track these days. I think it's like app based.
Is it?
I'm
So you
prepared for
book
that.
in.
Yeah.
Do you queue when you book in?
It's like a you don't have to stand in the queue, so I think you can do that. I think it's called a speed something lane. Where you're in basically rather than having all your guests stood in queues waiting to go on a ride, your guests can be going to restaurants and stuff, but they're in the queue.
I'm really sorry, I got to pee.
You go pee, mate. Yeah, this is the crack.
Yeah, so I think that's per ride though. That surely can't be £15 per day.
Yeah, so I think that's the crack. So per guest per day, you'd pay like $15 to $29.
Yeah, per ticket there it says $20 per ticket per ride.
Yeah, that's not per ride. That's for literally the day.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be a lot more than that.
Well, you got to think I'm going for 2 weeks, so that'll add up. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, of course.
So I probably won't be using it every day. We'll probably gauge it on how many rides
You want to do
try
that
and get
like
on.
Universal. That's
Well, I think Universal have a different system to them.
right.
But I think, you just got to gauge it when you get there. I think it varies. The price varies on how busy the park's going to be that day. So it'll be more expensive if it's a busy day.
Right.
So it works like that.
Oh yeah, 15 to 29. It's going to be the back end of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
So, but we're going, we're going back end of September, beginning of October. I think it's going to be on the quieter end.
Yeah, you might be
I think
alright,
I think
actually.
it'll still be busy, but I think
It's never
going to
not be busy, is it? But yeah.
But
So we're just saying here, it varies now per day. It's like $15 to $29. Obviously, it's going to be the back end of that.
so they do like a Genie Plus thing, which is like you can get on, you can get a fast track. You can pay for a fast track thing for a full day, where you can basically book a ride at a time. So you book one ride, say I want to go on Soarin'. You're at Epcot, you want to go on Soarin', book that, and then you get on the fast track for that, and then you're not allowed to book until after that ride for the next ride, and you can just fast track like that and keep going. And you have to pay somewhere between $15 and $29 depending on how busy the park is, or it depends on which park you're in. I don't know, I'll find out when I get there. But yeah,
So you pay per ride, or you just have this one thing for the day?
one thing for the day, I believe.
Right.
I hope.
Which doesn't seem too expensive that I thought. And then Johnny was like, yeah, but I'm there for 3 weeks. That's going to add up.
2 weeks.
And it's per
2
person.
weeks. Yeah.
Per person, yeah.
Well, imagine you've got like a family of 8.
Exactly.
And you want to do
yeah,
it 10 times or whatever. How many parks are there for?
4, yeah.
When you do it 8 times, you have to go twice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to tot up, innit? It's tot up.
Yeah.
Do you know when you do these? It's been so long since I've been, and obviously I think we were broke when we went. But when you get like this fast pass, right? Let's say you pay for a fast pass. Is it that there is no queue, or is it just less of a queue?
I seem to remember, and I went before they introduced this system, but I seem to remember there was just less of a queue. And in some cases, I feel like I was still waiting quite a while on some of them. But I think, if you're waiting a while and you've fast-tracked it, imagine how long you're going to be waiting if you didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just a shortened queue. Like, as far as I remember, it's similar to like Alton Towers. You just pay for your fast track, you're on the much faster system.
Do you know what? I have a bit
Line.
of a. This might just be me, right? This sort of like feeling about this sort of thing. I've never done a fast pass in a park, but I imagine when you're telling me about it, I'm getting this feeling that I once found out through like actually living this experience, and it took me by surprise. So, when you go on a plane, obviously there is the fast lane type thing. You can pay extra when you book your flights.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? So you're waiting at the bit to like check your bags in, sort of thing. And there's always that big, long, windy queue.
Yeah.
But there's always that one lane down the side where there's like a few people, where like first class and shit like that is,
Yeah.
right? So once, not actually aiming for this queue, but just once I booked like a better seat coming back from Brazil. One of them like lie down bed type things.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was feeling, posh.
Treat
So I
yourself,
did, yeah.
like it.
And I didn't realise at the time, but then when I got to the airport, it was, there was this great big long winding queue, and there was this like little lane with like 3 people in, and it dawned on me, I was like, oh, I'm in there, I can go in there. It's like buzzing, I don't have to stand there. And when I went and stood in this queue with like 3 or 4 people, obviously you can imagine my queue looked different to everybody else. These all look like normal people. These people, you could tell, were wealthy.
Yeah.
Like Louis Vuitton suitcases and shit. And there was me with my little raggedy one, But I stood there, and all of a sudden, I just felt this like feeling of like that everyone's looking at me, thinking like, you posh, you know what? Like, I felt a bit of resentment. Do you know what I mean? And at this moment in time, I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like feeling that I'm
Privileged.
privileged,
Yeah.
if that's the word. Yeah, it was a really weird dynamic, and I got a really bad.
Yeah, I feel like I would feel. I don't think I'd get that feeling off using the fast track thing. I would definitely feel it if I used the disabled badge for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I would 100%. I'd feel that times 100. I think.
Yeah.
but I do know what you mean, and I think when it's like privilege made obvious in those kind of situations, it can feel a bit like. Ooh.
I think so.
Yeah.
Is that not just because you've looked at them people before in that long queue?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if
You might feel that, but I'd imagine that the rich people with the Louis Vuitton bags and stuff, they might not have felt that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's...
I don't know. I've never been a rich person, to know. But I do know that I think that's actually happened twice in my life where I've been in this fast lane type of thing. And I feel that both times, I can only remember one, but I think even just thinking of that time now, it's like it makes me feel uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel uncomfortable. I even felt uncomfortable on that plane. You know when you walk on the plane and you're like, when you go through the door, we all turn right and go sit in the bit with the seats.
Yeah.
Where the normal people sit, like us. People like us. Oh!
Tying it all together.
Anyway, yeah, but this one time, I can't remember the second time, maybe I wasn't there, but this one time I remember turning left, but as I came on, and like I showed them a boarding pass, and obviously there's that moment where you stood, she's greeting you on the plane, you know, the woman when you first walk on.
Yeah.
Can I see your boarding pass, please?
Oh, this is where you're sitting.
Yeah, and I'd look, and obviously at this point I can see both ways, and you can see all these like plush like cabins down here, like 10 of them, do you know what I mean? In like a massive space.
Yeah.
And you look here, and there's all these people sardined together, and they're all looking at you. And I walked in there, and I can remember it didn't feel right. Do you know what I mean? Just made me feel like I don't like that guy. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy. Why? I'm not better than everybody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it didn't stop you from flipping them off, though, did it?
No.
Extra leg room over here.
I admit, once, it's a long flight, once we were in the air and I was lying down, I let it go. I had a snuggly sleep on a bed, but...
Champagne, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, well, they were offering that, weren't they? Yeah, you can imagine. But, nah, that just bringing it to this, like, the fast pass thing, I don't want to, like, if it's good enough for everybody else, it's good enough for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope, I don't think I ever will, but if I ever got very, very rich, for example, I hope I'd keep them values. I hope I would. Because I don't think you should. I don't like that privilege thing.
Yeah. Well, look, there's nothing wrong if you've earned your money and stuff. There's nothing wrong with having a bit of cream cheese with your pie, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess so.
I don't think that you should necessarily stop having those things, but I think in terms of keeping grounded and, appreciating how far you've come, I think it's important to, I'd like to think that I'd maintain a bit of what I call it guilt, or at least respect for those who have less.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the fast pass thing. I don't think I'd like it, be honest. Even if I paid. In Disney?
What, you'd rather wait the 90 minutes?
I think so.
No, I think that's a bit different. It's a lot more common for people to do the fast pass. I understand what you're saying about the playing stuff and staying grounded, but for me, staying grounded, that's a people thing. It's who you surround yourself by. Let
me word it another way, right? I think that situation only bothers me when the VIP and the, let's call it economy class, which would be the normal queue or the VIP queue, or getting on a plane where that's there and that's there, when it's happening at the same time, that's what I don't like. Like if I removed all of that, and let's just say there was a ride that only VIPs could go on, and I was stood in this queue with VIPs, but there was nobody else there, and we were all VIPs, I'd be fine about that. Then I'm thinking of a plane. If I got on a plane and I'd paid this extra and it was a special plane for everybody else, I'd be fine about that. Because I'm thinking of times when I've been in hotels and I've stayed in like fancy rooms and stuff. You get like they act a certain way towards you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel like, when you've made like a special booking or something and stuff like that, you feel privileged. And that's a nice feeling, I think. Because you think, there's a whole thing of I've worked hard for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I don't like it when they're together.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, I don't think. I think it's, it's...
I don't want to...
It's guilt. I suppose it's what keeps you grounded a little bit.
It's guilt.
Understand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's guilt.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good thing, personally. I think it's good that you feel that way, obviously.
Yeah, I think it would be, put it the other way. Like, imagine if you just felt totally like, unlucky.
Oh, God.
Away. You know what I mean? That's a bad value to have, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like, I don't know, what's that? Some kind of like...
Totally narcissistic, isn't it?
Is that narcissistic, is it? I'm not smart enough to understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Narcissism. Cover up your own ass.
I bet there will be people that think like that.
Yeah, of course.
I bet there will be.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, it'd probably be easier if you thought like that, wouldn't it? Because then you wouldn't have any negative from those situations.
Yeah.
If you are in a privileged position, I guess.
But bringing it back to the fast pass thing, though, like you got to think a lot of the people who stand in the standard queue might have paid for a fast track, just not necessarily for that ride. So,
That's true.
You're not necessarily walking past people who aren't on the same privilege as you. They're just using it in a different way. You know what I mean? You've paid a lot of money to get there. You may as well get the best out of your day when you see fit. That's the way I'm looking at it.
I guess so.
When I'm walking past the little kid who's like, how come he gets on the ride first? I'm like, because I fucking paid too, mate.
Yeah. And I paid more than you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, if you work hard for your money,
And you do, sir.
Use it.
And you do.
We do.
But yeah, probably don't try and blag this disabled thing like...
I don't know. I'll save me shit up for it.
I know.
I won't be sitting in the chair. She will be.
Yeah, but then you'll have to do the talking, mate.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right.
Look at her.
No.
Did we come to a conclusion? I know, sorry to bring it back.
Yeah, I don't think we should.
Did we come to
go
a
on.
conclusion whether you can get, like, wrong or told off or... I don't know.
What, put in Disney jail?
Is that a
Yeah,
thing?
no, I don't think you can get it wrong.
Like,
I think it's one of them. It's like frowned upon.
just frowned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you really shouldn't.
Go on then, mate.
Yeah, like please don't, Dan.
Nothing can happen to you if you try it and they say no. It's just no, right?
Just be really awkward, yeah.
Like, because you don't have to have documentation that you have ADHD, do you?
To be fair, I don't know whether Dad had like hospital reports and stuff. I don't know. I was quite young when it all happened, but
Find out for us.
Yeah, find out.
yeah, all right, mate. I've
had a perforated, a prolapsed vertebrae before. Could have a flare up of that before I go, couldn't I?
How'd you do
You
that?
can't be standing in queues with that.
I was sending cues of that.
No.
Huh?
How'd you do that?
Lifting weights in the gym.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's going to be something exciting.
Yeah, no, that
No.
was it.
Oh.
Lifted something heavy above my head and
That would do it, yeah.
yeah,
Nightmare.
nasty like.
Did you
I
drop
bet.
the weight? Was it on a machine?
I didn't. It was a military press. You know, where you stand and put something above your head.
Yeah.
It was one of them.
Okay.
Just getting clever, full of myself. Yeah, don't lift things too heavy. It's not doing you any favors. You know.
I don't think I'm in any danger there.
No. It's better not to anyway, really.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, that was a different story. But yeah, might have a flare up of that before Disney. I'm sure that classes as something, right?
I've got a couple of weeks.
They'd probably say don't go on the ride though.
Oh yeah, that could backfire.
Oh yeah, yeah. They could, health and safety reasons.
Yeah.
Mind you, they let your sister on with a dizziness, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, mate.
Full blown vertigo.
Full-blown vertigo.
Get her on the
Yeah,
ride.
yeah.
Space Mountain. She'll be fine.
She did go on. She felt awful after that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would do, yeah.
Space Mountain, definitely recommend. Like, that's a good one.
Is it?
Mm.
The only things I can remember from Disney are Thunder Mountain and the Haunted House.
Yeah,
Both.
the Haunted House is cool.
Both very good.
Yeah.
Classic, isn't it?
Mhm.
I can almost remember scenes in it.
Mhm.
You know, you sit in like a little cup thing, don't you?
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, you're in like this weird shell shape thing.
Shell shape thing, and it's moving around and stuff. I remember.
Yeah, it's cool. Really cool. It's one of them ones where they haven't like changed it in years either as well. It's like a classic. Yeah.
I think that's
You just
another
gotta
thing
do
with the queues at Disney and all that experience. Like, I know for the King Kong one, we obviously fast tracked that one as well. But on the on the King Kong line, there's like tons of King Kong memorabilia. There's like interactive experiences as you
Yeah.
go through.
That
the-
is true. So even if you don't fast track it, like sometimes like for all 90 minutes is a bit of a stretch. Like if it's longer than that, like at least the queue's kind of interesting.
Yeah, you
know,
go
it's not
around the
just you stood
corner,
there in a
something
corridor.
might jump out. They do keep it exciting for you.
You're talking about the Universal Studios King Kong.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
what I remember.
yeah.
That's
It's
the one.
like an underground, isn't it?
I don't think I
Yeah.
can remember that one. I've done
Yeah,
it before. but I can't
that was
remember.
just came out when I went there, and it was like I think the queue was 3 hours, but the queuing, like people actually, some people wanted to queue for it because you went round a corner and there was like a big gorilla
Like a set.
yeah,
Yeah.
stuff there. And that.
You ever been on It's a Small World?
Yeah.
I think that's my mum's favourite. It's a classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of the originals.
You've got to do it, but also it's like
You
that,
can't.
that song lives with you for a few days afterwards. It just goes round in your head.
You're not forgetting it, right?
Nah.
No. I liked it. Yeah, it's a nice place, right?
Yeah. I'm excited.
Enjoy, Johnny.
18 days. I'll be there.
18 days. Wow. You're already
Yeah.
outfits.
It just sits nice with us, you know. It's
Yeah.
just all the shit that I put up with throughout the day. It's kind of just in the back of my mind. It's like, 18 days, mate. We'll sack it all off. It's all going to be worth it.
It's the carrot on the string thing, innit?
Yeah.
I love that. Like, that I can only operate in the carrot on the string world.
Yeah, as long as you've
what I
got something to head towards.
mean? Yeah.
You can put up with a lot of shit if you've got something like that coming up on the radar.
Yeah, it's a target, isn't it? Something to aim at, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's probably, the case for a lot of people who have, you feel a bit lost in shit like that. I think you need a target. You need a goal.
You do.
You know?
Yeah.
And not just any goal. It's got to be one that you want to get up for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have to be monetary. It can be getting something,
Yeah.
You got to want it,
100%. So it's like we've got Florida, and then I was thinking to myself, oh my God, when I get back from there, I'm going to feel like shit.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then Misha's like, no, wedding planning after that. We're going to we've got some other goals that we want to hit. Like we're looking at new house, wedding planning, a lot of stressful stuff, but also things to fucking look forward to, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
going to be good.
You're going to do them things.
I'm going to do them things.
Yeah. Which one first?
House, I think.
House first.
House first.
And then tie the knot.
Tie the knot, yeah.
Are you going to do an English wedding?
I think so.
Are you going to do a church wedding? There's the question.
No.
No.
Not religious. Nah.
No. Registry office job?
Yeah, well, you get the registrar at one of them posh houses.
Yeah. Country house job.
I think so, that type of thing.
You got anywhere in mind?
We do. We're looking at a place in Consett, Durant Reservoir. They're currently building a place at the moment.
Right.
We should be ready by like 2024, 25.
Right.
So it'll be early doors in it. But it looks like it might be nice. And I think on the more affordable scale, which is very, very important. But yeah.
What is it, a venue or a house they're building?
Venue.
Huh.
Purpose built for weddings and stuff, yeah.
It's purpose built for weddings?
Yeah.
I didn't think they made places just for weddings, did they?
Well, I'd imagine functions and stuff in general. But yeah, weddings will be one up there as the main one.
Well, you have a lot of guests.
Trying to limit it down, I think, just for money.
Each one is money, right?
Yeah. Pretty much comes down to it, yeah.
How much it, like, per head, once you do all the food and stuff? Like, you get pretty much ripped off in wedding times.
I think as soon as you mention wedding with pretty much most things, it's going to be, it rocks the cost of quite considerably.
Yeah. Have you seen the price of a wedding dress? That's a piss take. Like, they see you coming, right?
Yeah.
The thousands.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's going to be probably a loan jobby, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Paying that off for a little while. God. Yep.
What?
Yeah, that's about where it's going to sit.
Thank you, 50%. So
Just
20
under
grand.
20,000, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a smooth 20.
Right, and cut that down as far as I can. I will.
24.
Save a
including the
fortune on
honeymoon.
graphic design. That's good. Them invitations.
Yeah. Wow, 25 grand. It's a bit of money to get married, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Honeymoon and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, great things. Good to look forward to.
Yeah. 100%.
House. Where are you going to buy a house?
Stay in Consett area. I know it's a bit of a commute for me, but it's where family are and stuff like that, and you can get a fairly decent house for a little bit of money over there. So
You're going to do kids?
it's the question. It's up in the air at the moment. My brother has actually just had a baby
Really?
yesterday.
Who, if you could say, you or Misha, who wants them more?
Me.
Huh.
We've went back and forth on this.
Oh, yeah.
There's been some moments, but
Is she in the no camp? If you don't mind me asking.
she's coming over to the S camp, but she's kind of in the no camp.
Is she?
Yeah.
How old's Mish?
She is 30. Who knows? So, around about the age where you would start to think about it, I guess. Once you head towards 40, it starts to become less of an option, really.
Yeah.
So time's kind of ticking. But, while I'm saying I'm a yes, I'm not a firm yes, I think if it didn't happen, well, didn't happen. I've got nieces and nephews and living the dink life, dual income, no kids. I'm going to Disney a hell of a lot more,
Yeah,
you know
you
what I'm saying?
Yeah, you are. It's there's good sides and bad sides to both of it.
Yeah.
You have a kid, of course, then the thing we talked about, like the whole when you're old, there's the next generation, the whole Christmas thing.
Yeah.
Great. But there is a downside to it.
Mm-hmm.
Your life's never going to be the same.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty hard at the beginning.
A lot of stressful stuff.
A lot
in
of
between.
stressful stuff. A lot of responsibility. It's funny, I was thinking about this the other day. Is this just me, right? I imagine it's not. I got it in my head that like if I ever have a kid, I'm like, right, this kid's going to play the violin. He's going to be a brain surgeon. Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Is that like the same with everybody? Does everybody think like that?
I think so, yeah. I see it a lot in my life where my mum and dad have tried to put things in place for me to like learn certain things or focus my attention in certain directions, you know, to try and get me certain opportunities in life, you know. I grew up when I was a teenager, a lot of my kids were going out, hanging out at skate parks, drinking energy drinks, breaking their legs on the skate ramps and whatever.
Of course.
Yeah. My mum and dad tried to get me into golf. My brother got a hell of a lot into it. I was maybe on the younger side when I started into it, so I was more interested in swinging the golf club around like it was a lightsaber, which I don't think's really changed. But they got us going to these golf classes at the Hobson and learning how to, you know, I can play a good round of golf. I'm all right at it, but like,
never.
Yeah, I've got a good swing. I've been told.
So you got taught how to swing properly.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. So like, you know, to keep our attention away from just going out and hanging out in Stanley or whatever, I instead was channeled into
like
something, you
funneled
know.
a certain
And then
way.
you look at it, take it away from golf. There's a piano sat in the corner. I had piano lessons. I sacked them off. I came back to it about 5 years later, as it happens, because the piano was still there and I fancied it. But they tried to persuade my attention and push me down certain avenues or keep my attention away from other places, which I think is good. And I think if I was to be a father, I'd probably want to do similar things, like you say, violin or whatever, try and teach them things and help them be, you know, give them Spanish lessons when they're 6 so that they might be fluent by the time they're 12, you know.
That to me, you know, that's, for what it's worth, someone who has no kids yet, I think language would be something that would kind of be a good idea.
Yeah.
You
can earn a lot of money doing that as well. Open up a lot of windows, a lot of doors.
Yeah, if you can become fluent as a child growing up in 2 languages, not your language and let's say Spanish, for example, even if that kid ends up, because you think as a kid gets older, you lose control. When it's 4, 5, 6, 7, you're in complete control, pretty much, bar health. Yeah. Right? But as it gets 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, it grows up.
External influences start to take them away from you.
You lose the grip. Yeah. But if that person is fluent, straight fluent in another language, no matter what happens to it, he or she, not it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it ends up being an absolute wrong un, getting in trouble with the law, blah, 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 goes to jail, as soon as it comes out, it's got a job. It's a translator.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Easy, yeah.
So you literally are programming an income for somebody. And you're also giving them an opportunity to go to another country and possibly work, you know?
Yeah.
If they wanted to.
Exactly. It opens up a hell of a lot of doors.
And I also think a musical instrument good. Because that is the same thing.
Yeah.
If you know, if you've gone your whole life, and let's say piano, for example, and by the time you're 16, you are fluent in piano?
Yeah.
Fluent?
Yeah, I guess so. You can say that.
Fluent, whatever. Then that'll always, no matter what happens to you, you've got a backup.
Yeah.
Always. Music teacher, music lessons, playing a band, anything. And you look pretty awesome when you pull that out as well.
Yeah.
You know.
It's nice.
That's the one in it.
Yeah. I think, you know, aside from, you know, the music ability that comes with it, I think the discipline of actually sitting down and learning either a language or a musical instrument or something like that, I think that is something that kind of works into your brain and can kind of help you in other areas of your life as well. You probably wouldn't think about.
Yeah.
You know, just the idea that you can sit down and just figure something out for yourself or be taught it and kind of go through the practice and the repetition that you need to be either fluent in speaking a language or good at playing away the keys. Yeah, I think it's a good skill to have, and it's a good mindset to get in, that you can just focus and just figure something out.
Positive all around, isn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to play the trumpet though, would you?
No. You always think about that, you know, like in primary school or whatever, I bet you had loads of people, and you as well, you still do this, the old tin whistle.
The tin whistle?
You get your flute out.
Oh, your flute.
Yeah. You know, you get kids who they always learn like hot cross buns on the flute, and you're like, you go to the
3 Blind Mice.
Everyone sits in the hall, and you have to listen to the kid who's just picked up the flute for the first time when he's playing 3 Blind Mice or hot cross buns or whatever, and you have to sit there and it's like, right, that's going to help you nowhere in the future, is it?
No.
You're wasting your time there.
Yeah, 3 Blind Mice on the recorder's not paying no bills, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So I always find that a weird thing that they do that in school.
I suppose there's better instruments to learn than others.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you say, if you're fluent in the harp, pretty limited.
A little bit, yeah.
Not a lot of need for harps.
Yeah.
You know.
Although maybe, you know what I mean? There's so few people who play harp. You bang out, oh, by the way, I'm a harp player. Plenty of orchestras will probably be looking for you.
I suppose. And in today's online world, it's opened it up a bit.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah,
you can
that's
do
true.
harp lessons online across the planet.
Yeah.
So, well, you know. But trumpet, I always think that's a shit one because, like, that, you know, like that's the only thing that's what I see.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, look at your silly face.
Got vivid memories of
Louis
got a
Armstrong.
vivid memory of in our school there was one lad who learned the trumpet. And he took the extra classes to do that outside of school. And then, you know, when you do the music recital and everyone does the bit, you know, the hot cross buns and the guitar players play their little bit. And then he gets up and he gets to do his trumpet bit. For whatever reason, it wasn't working that day. So he stood up in front of the whole school and he just went up to the trumpet and he went,
Oh,
and then he just burst into tears because it's not working that day. And I'm just sitting there, it's like I feel bad for you. At the time, I can remember feeling awfully sorry for him, and no one was laughing. But then you think about it a few weeks later, fucking hilarious. Like the funniest shit I've ever
just
seen.
when you need it when you're a kid as well.
Yeah.
you know.
He needs that confidence boost. He needs
Yeah.
to absolutely bust out the best fucking trumpet you've ever heard. And
He's already playing the trumpet.
let himself down, man. Yeah.
He's up against it for a kickoff, and then he fluffs his lines. Let's say.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But you're right, man. I think it's it's one of them instruments where I feel like it takes a while for you to get good at it. So them first months or whatever where you're learning to play, you sound shit and it's really embarrassing. Like,
Yeah.
I was thinking with bagpipe players.
What is that?
Like, they're the fucking worst. Even when you're good at the bagpipes, they're fucking horrible. I think,
There's
you know.
Never been a bagpipe that sounds good.
No,
It sounds horrendous.
I've never been in a place where there's bagpipes and thought, oh, that sounds fucking class. Like, no, stop
No.
it, put them away. And like, I'd imagine that, they look quite complicated. You know what I mean? There's fucking sticks flying out everywhere. You got that fucking horrible bag thing that you got to press down. Like, that's a fucking chew on that.
I know.
Stop farting around, man. Put them away. And they're dead loud. Like, you can't play that quietly. It just practice away in your room or something like that. They fucking fill a room. You have to be out in a field somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, practicing that, disturbing the whole fucking community.
Hey, there's the thing, yeah. Can you imagine learning it? Like being that kid that's learning the bagpipes.
Yeah.
Imagine being the mum and dad.
Being shit at the bagpipes is a bad place to be. You know what I mean?
Do you know, it's right. A well professionally played bagpipe sounds like somebody's being murdered.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds
It's
like the
still
death of a
annoying, yeah.
goat. You know, it's a horrendous noise.
Yeah.
You know, I've got nothing against Scottish people and their heritage, of course, but that is a pretty horrific noise.
Yeah.
Can you imagine somebody who doesn't know how to play it? Yeah. Oh, God.
Like the repetition they have to do to learn a musical instrument. Like I could be sitting my guitar for like, a couple of hours at a time, repeating, rinse and repeat, getting better at something, refining it. You know, if your neighbour's getting disturbed by you playing for the bagpipes for, I'd say more than 10 minutes at a time, they're going to be pissed off with you. Just like, they're going to want to shove that bagpipe right out of your ass.
It's not a discrete instrument, is it?
Yeah, no. Fuck that.
But like all of this, like you are right what you said. Like it's good for kids to be learning shit like that. I think
It's
good discipline. I've got a few more like thought processes on this. I want to run them by you. You tell me what you think to this.
Okay.
And before I start, I don't want to sound like a communist, right?
Okay. Right. Where are we going here?
Yeah.
God.
No. Well,
Brace yourself.
yeah. Listen to this. So, I think that kids should go through a couple of things. I think they should be made to do, the 2 years of military thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think all 16-year-old boys should be made to do 2 years of national service. I think. And the reason I think that is I think everybody would benefit from that, from discipline-wise. Mm-hmm. And, excuse me, I'm coming at this from an angle, from somebody who possibly needed more discipline as a kid. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Possibly needed more rules and needed to be kept in check more. And I know I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. You know, I know there's a lot of young boys that would probably have benefited from that sort of discipline. So I know it's something that we used to do, right? Certainly other countries
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, if we ever did. I think we did.
No, we did. It was a fact, we used to do
National
that.
service is called, right?
National service. 2 years it was.
Yeah, I got some friends, Turkish friends. They do it in their country still. I know that. I'm pretty sure the Russians do. Like, they don't mess about.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it would be good. And I think something else as well and this is a bit even. The military thing is less controversial than this, but I think that young boys at a younger age should be taught some kind of martial art or some kind of fighting technique. So I think it should be when they're young. I don't think you should be 16. I think, 10, 11, 12, 13, these ages, I think it should be mandatory that for 2 years, boys are made to do, let's call it self-defense even. Let's word it that way. And I just think that it should be a standard thing that every male, when they get to 18, should have a couple of years of discipline into them and a couple of years where they're taught to defend themselves if they need to and to be able to retaliate should they need to.
Yeah.
Now, I don't, hear what I'm saying here. I don't believe that anybody should ever have to use that military service. I don't think there's ever a need for a war.
No.
We should never have any war. Everything can be talked out. And I also don't believe that there should ever be a time that something should come to physical conflict. There shouldn't, unless it's for sport. That's my only view. If it's for sport and that's, and everybody's okay with it, we've agreed, everyone's getting paid, great. If that's what you want to do, it's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Remove them for a minute. But I just think that everybody should have an understanding of how to defend themselves. And I think that if you've got a race of young men that have reached the age of 18 with a couple of years of self-defense under the belt, knowing that every other boy that they see also got 2 years of self-defense, so that everybody knows knows what they're doing. Everybody knows...
Levels the playing field out.
Yeah, levels the playing field out, that all little boys are taught it, and everyone's got that military discipline. Everybody knows to get up at 5 o'clock. I'm not saying everybody has to, but you know what that life's like, to get up and make your bed, to scrub a floor with a thing. So you've been through that. And I don't care whether you are from a council estate or whether you're privileged. I think everybody should be made to do it. I just think that would bring out a better pool of people. Look, there's a lot of wetties now. I for one, was never taught self-defense. I was never taught to fight.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should fight. I was never taught to defend myself. I was never taught anything like that. And I think I would have benefited from it. Again, not to use it, just to know it's there. I was never taught no military discipline. I was allowed to lay in bed all day, smoke what I wanted. I'm not saying mum and dad did a bad job. They did a fantastic job. I was a strong-natured kid.
You just look back and think you would have benefited from having that grounding.
I know I would have. And I know a lot of other boys would have too. What's your thoughts?
It's an interesting thing. So first thing I want to address, boys, just the boys. I would imagine that the girls would very much benefit from self-defense training.
Yes, I
get
take
a couple
that
of years. 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the military thing again. I'm an equal opportunities guy. I think the women should have that as well.
Let's say everybody then.
Yeah, that levels out the playing field. It's an interesting thought. Military-wise, going back to your point about like there shouldn't be wars and stuff like that. I'd like to live in a world where we don't have the military at all.
Me too.
In which case, I would say, rather than saying that it's a military-focused thing, I think it would be an amazing thing to have a 2-year service where somebody has to just commit to something.
Yes.
So, like, bearing in mind the idea that, not everybody has the same abilities as everybody else. I went to school with fat kids. They ain't going to do that well on the military thing. And I probably, once you put in a pool of men who can thrive in that kind of environment, there are people who won't thrive in that environment. So I think that you should have 2 years where you can basically, you are provided for and you don't have to go to work, but you have to focus on something.
Should we call it discipline school then? Let's remove the word military, 'cause that's a bad word. Let's just say that every young man and woman at 16 to 18 have to do, or 14 to 16.
You might have a rough idea of what you want to do with your life at that point.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily, I think it was a bit brutal to have to choose at that point, but, you've got a rough idea of what direction you want to head in. And then pick your avenue, go down that avenue, spend 2 years focused on that.
You know what you could do? In our country, you go to junior school until you're 11, then you got a comprehensive school for 5 years.
Yeah.
You could do it from 11 to 13. That once you leave junior school, you go in discipline school, and it adds an extra 2 years onto your schooling, right? So you do everything the same. You still do your comp, you still do your sixth form, you still do the uni, but everything's just knocked back 2 years. And like you say, at 11, There's, there doesn't have to be miles away. You can even go home on a weekend, say.
Yeah.
And the government should put these things, like a few in every county, so that everyone can get to them.
Like a boarding school type of situation.
Yeah,
where
but
you go.
Yeah, Monday to Friday you go. Get some buses running on it and shit. Do you know what I mean?
Man, we might be onto something here.
Just
Imagine. So again, if you pick an avenue, you will then be in a boarding school with people, like-minded individuals. In every field, and then you'd go and you would just focus on that, and you'd have a regimented life where you'd be up at 5, focus on getting really good at this certain area of whatever it is, whether it is military, sports related, music related, whatever, and do your drills, do what you need to do, fend for yourself, clean the place, all that jazz. 2 years of that will sort you out. You'll come out of that with a hell of a lot of confidence.
I think so.
A hell of a lot of it would change your brain to really
totally
to focus.
Totally.
Think, yeah.
You could bring all sorts of stuff in. Like in our military school, people, let's call it the people like us, discipline school, right?
Yeah.
Of course, they're all focused to the channels, what you think. You don't have to stick to it, but fundamentals are the same no matter what you pick. It's you get up at 5, right? You make your bed. You get dressed and pressed. Like, you learn to get up and be ready for the day. Like, daft things, I don't know. Like, you do something, like you say, some physical exercise. Everybody has to, fat, skinny, small. Nothing stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like 10-mile runs. Just learn to get up and move around.
Yeah.
Then, apply yourself to something, right? Today we're going to sew. You know what I mean? And you just have to, you focus in your mind. You're sewing. You know what I mean? Something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just stuff. I'm sure there's a lot smarter people than me and you could figure it out.
Yeah.
But I just think that a lot of these kids, like, they seem as though, like, they're just like lost on these screens, like no phones. That'll be one.
Yeah.
That, like, for 2 years, you don't touch that phone. Do you know what I mean? You can see it on Sunday if you want to go home.
Yeah.
But from Monday to Saturday, say, for example, no, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And it's good. And at first, if you brought it in now, like, we're not doing that. But if it just became like, that's just what it is, no one would whinge.
Yeah.
It's just, I've got to do the military, not military, whatever. I have to do the discipline school, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. Ironing. You know what I mean? Ironing. Shit like that. Like, bit of everything.
Because in a way, like, the school system and all the exams and all that jazz don't prepare you for real life, really.
No.
When I left for uni, I had to learn a lot of that stuff on the fly, and I suppose that, in a sense, is kind of in a way, kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Apart from the nightlife culture.
Yeah, the nightlife culture.
Yeah. Where you have to, sort it out for yourself. I mean, there's no one controlling it and telling you must be up at this time. And a hell of a lot, I wasn't up at that time.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of 5 a.m. starts for me when I was at uni, but it definitely I benefited a lot from going through that.
Yeah.
Learning to fend for myself, living in a city where I wasn't completely comfortable, even though it was just Newcastle and it was down the road from Consett. But like, it was away. I was away from my parents. I was on my own, basically.
And it helped you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I compare that to the people who didn't go to uni and didn't have that experience. A lot of them, I'm heading towards 30, and some of them still live with their parents.
Do they really?
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So you learned to live on your own young.
Yeah.
I just think something else. I think it would have to be quite strict. I think there'd have to be some kind of documentation and stuff to say, like, because you're going to get rebellious kids.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it might be quite controversial, but I think, no, like, during these school hours, like, these gaffers that run it, you'll do what they say.
Yeah.
I know it's against the whole, 'cause then you bring in the whole, like, you don't smack kids anymore and stuff like that. Well, like, I'm not saying you should beat kids up. No, I'm not saying that. But, like, that kind of, like, you kind of should, I think, like, be disciplining kids a little bit. Yeah. Like, when someone has done wrong, they need to learn.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll stand up now. I wasn't clouted enough. I wasn't. I had my mum. My mum would give me a slap if I was a little bastard, which I was often. But,
Yeah.
it's a 13, 14-year-old boy and, a woman, it's not the same.
Yeah.
But if you've got a big towering dad over you, or a big towering, like, Sergeant Major-esque character, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, in my head, I'm painting this military guy. It doesn't have to be that. Call him Gary.
It's funny that we're saying this, because I watched a video this morning, right? It was a military camp situation. I would imagine that they're training to be in the military, these boys.
Right.
And the video was about this incident that happened. And this group of lads, they all live in this training camp, all share a dormitory where they all sleep together. And one of the lads had been away doing something like military shit. And while he was away doing that, a lad had jizzed in his pillowcase.
Nice.
Grim, right?
Nice.
Disgusting. And it was basically the guy whose pillowcase it belonged to, then came back, found, this has happened. So he brought it up to the sergeant major, whatever guy he is, and then sorted it out. And the video was interesting, just watching this kid getting a fucking bollocking, basically. But you're right, that is exactly what it is. And the kid who jizzed in the pillowcase got kicked out of the military thing. Of course he did. Yeah. And that was quite an interesting thing to watch, where it's once you get a group of lads like that in that kind of situation, it's going to cause, there's going to be a lot of situations like what I've just described, where shit like that goes down. But I think, weeding out the people who do those kinds of antics is also there's a lesson in that for him.
Maybe this way, like, obviously one of the first thing that comes to mind here is like the bullying type side of thing, right? Well, like possibly if you brought my, my people like us, martial arts training in, through 9, 10 and 11.
Get your martial arts training before you go into the military camp. Yeah.
So that okay, there's a little guy, a big guy, a fat guy, a thin guy. Everybody knows jiu-jitsu, Everybody knows karate,
Maybe the fighting just gets more brutal.
Maybe. But level the playing field up a little bit.
I guess so, yeah.
Be less like, compute. I don't know. I think I've got a problem with the youth of today who sit in front of computers and stuff. Like, I don't think that's healthy for little boys.
Yeah.
Or little girls. I think everybody should be out there and
riding the bikes and
look. This is one divvy's point of view. I know I would have benefited from that.
Yeah.
And I just think a bit of that would.
That's an interesting idea. I quite like the thought behind it, and I totally get where you're coming from in terms of kids these days definitely need a lot more discipline and a lot more focus. I think once you get your hands on one of these and you've got access to TikTok and Facebook and all that jazz, it can just be poison to your mind, really, because it just distracts you from getting on with shit.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah,
it does. Look, just a thought, just a thought. It's like that thing, isn't it? The saying that Jordan Peterson said. It's like is it like a proverb or something? That Matthew 5:5, that thing about being a monster.
I don't know this.
I've not said it to you before.
Maybe you have. I don't know.
I feel like I have. Those who have swords and know how to use them, but keep them sheathed, will inherit the world. And I just think that's a little like where it's some kind of, I don't know, something biblical, I think. But I think a lot of people don't have swords and don't know how to use them, And I think discipline and I think learning some physical self-defense and things like that. I'm not saying anybody should ever have to use it.
Yeah.
But I think you'll do a lot better in life if you've got that sort of discipline and that sort of channeling and that sort of armor, let's just say.
Yeah, I think it'll give you a lot of confidence in a lot of situations.
I think so. I think just for boys and girls too.
I did a self-defense class once.
Did you?
Like a one quick session thing, and it was a weird thing where it was just the back end of school, and they got us all to do it. It was just one of them fun things that they thought would be nice for us to do before we move on to sixth form or whatever. And yeah, they got us putting these arm pads on and like practicing like pushing somebody away and clutching their arm.
Ever?
Yeah. And I can remember the arm pads did not work at all. So
no.
By the end, everyone just had a dead arm because your mate had been punching in the arm for like a good 20 minutes straight.
I've never heard of that.
It was like, yeah.
So the school actually taught you self-defense?
Yeah.
Or attempted to?
I think it was, yeah. Just a class, just as like a, I don't know, just as a extracurricular kind of fun exercise for us to take part in.
Huh.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
Did your school do that, Southpaw?
No, I've never experienced anything like that, but I strongly agree with the sort of martial arts thing. I think as a smaller lad at school, like yourself, I've never been a tall lad. A little bit of self-defense or just knowing how to just punch back. You know what I mean? Like, they were bigger lads, and just knowing how to just give one back and like, wow, he's little, but he knows what he's doing. I think that's very valuable and may help with a lot of physical bullying.
I think so. I mean, I have some little nephews now, and they went through bullying for a little bit. And, this again might be controversial, but for me, it was very, I hope, is that someone's phone?
Not mine.
Not me, mate.
Oh, well, you know what that means then. Sorry about that. Yeah, but my little nephews, they went through same thing. They were like, they were a bit smaller. Like they had some issues. Do you know what I mean? Bless them. They're sound now, but I used to always worry. Like I hope, yeah, you know, I knew one of them was going to comprehensive school. Like I've been at comprehensive school. I know what it's like. I know what he's going to have to go through. And I heard he was going through that sort of stuff. You know. Yeah. And I just thought, like, I hope he hits him back. I know that's the wrong thing to think, but like, you have to hit him back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's one of them unwritten things where, like, you know, I think if the schools had the way, they wouldn't, but they wouldn't be hit in the first place. But it's like every parent teaches them in the background. It's like, give as good as you get. You know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, I personally, I never was taught that. Or certainly wasn't drummed in my head. No, I was taught to run. Oh, that's what I ran. You know, I was taught tell the teacher. You know,
interesting.
That's not the way. No. Not in my opinion. Again, I'm not writing any script to the world. I'm just saying if I was calling the shots, my advice, should I ever be blessed enough to have a son, much to a lot of people's, you know, horror, you know, look, we're saying nobody should hit anybody anywhere. That shouldn't be a thing. We should be taught from a young age. Let's go to 4 or 5, another people like us school.
Yeah.
You are taught you never physically hurt somebody. And that fits in with today's society. You never put your hands. Words, fine. Hands, no. You are taught from a young age you never put your hands on anybody. You filter that through a generation or two, there probably won't be a war. Do you know what I mean? But if it is the case that somebody is putting your hands on you, even if the guy is older than you, you have to go back.
Yeah.
You have to go. Even if, I think you need to be not scared of getting filled in. Do you know what I mean? I was scared of being filled in.
Yeah.
But like you learn as you get old, like it doesn't hurt anywhere. Like you can't feel it. Like what is it? Like adrenaline kicks in.
You know what? I've never been filled in, and this is an interesting thing, right? I've often wondered if I got punched in the face just so I knew how little it hurt. I think it would give me a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
I'm not really. I don't think I'm inviting you to punch me in the face, but no. I've often wondered if it did happen to us, whether that would just sorted us out and just made us think like, all right. Like, I don't have to be as scared of this as I actually am.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, adrenaline fully kicks in. Like, you don't. I got headbutted once in a takeaway. Like, just this guy, this random lad just came up to us, just like, gives you shoes. So
shoes?
He was just like, gives you shoes, mate.
Went into a takeaway, you wanted a kebab in your shoes.
No, mate, he looked on the rough side of things. He was absolutely out of it. And I was wearing Balenciagas at the time. Don't really wear Balenciagas anymore.
What was he? Did he have shoes? Were you going to do a trade? Did he want to do a trade?
No, mate, he had shoes, but they were nice shoes. So he's like, gives you shoes or a tenner. I was like, that's daft, mate, 'cause these shoes are worth a lot more than a tenner. And I just started blabbering on. And before I could even, like, say anything else, he just headbutted us straight on. And in that moment, like, nose starts pouring with blood, but you don't.
After he headbutted, did he take the shoes?
Oh, no, he just sprinted out, mate. And then, like, the owners of the takeaway came over with tons of like towels and stuff for me nose, but yeah, in that moment I didn't feel out like, and you don't look back and think, oh, that knacked. You don't.
No, I spent my whole school years running. Like bullying was horrific in my school, horrific. I'll come back to that in a minute. But I always ran away. That just seemed to be the pattern. I always ran. I was quite good at running as well. So I think I just frustrated people because they couldn't catch me. Do you know what I mean? And it just added to it. Obviously, it then became a game that you chased me. Do you know what I'm saying? You heard me talk to my sister before. Like, bullying was rife in my ear. But as I got older, I mean, just one thing, I was never taught to hit, like, or never pushed to hit back. At that point, what I believe should have happened is a male figure, doesn't have to be my dad, mum's boyfriend, anybody, a male should have took me aside, should have said, this little boy needs this. And literally, and I would have, at the time, I would have probably hated it, but you should have literally took me in the back garden and, you know, put the gloves on or something and just, no, like, you drum it into the kid. No, you fight. You fight. That's what you do. And even if you lose, and it doesn't hurt. I didn't find this out till I was like 18, 19, 20. I mean, I've been pummeled before. Pummeled. I didn't feel. You don't feel a thing. The only time you feel it is like 24 hours later. Like I've been filled in mainly on a night. I've been filled in loads of times. I got sparked clean out once, teeth knocked out, everything. Never once did I feel a thing. You feel like the impact, but you don't feel any pain.
It's
But
the
then
next day.
the next day you wake up and like, oh, but then there's no drama happening then. You can deal with pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the time you don't feel anything.
Interesting.
Strange. Yeah. I didn't know that then. I thought, oh, it's going to really hurt. You see blood, you think, oh, it must really hurt. No, it doesn't hurt like. No, human body's good like that. It's got some kind of like, is it adrenaline that it does?
I think it must be adrenaline, but I think if more people knew that, then this sort of military martial arts thing you were saying, like, it would make a lot more sense for kids to just be like, well, no, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to take it, and then they'll never do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it could have negative effects, Maybe doing this, you could end up having a society of savages. I don't think so if it's done right and they're disciplined as youths. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. Could be wrong, but
it might be the kind of thing where it ends up being a person by person case.
Maybe.
Some people might take the whole martial arts class and think, all right, now I've got power over people and manipulate situations because they took to it better than others.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, both sides of it, but certainly, look,
it's an interesting thought. I quite like the premise behind it, and
it's worth a try. Like, kids now are bullying, like mental health, like,
rife at the moment, man.
Rife, man. No one's got any discipline. Like, be worth a try. Worth a try. Yeah, just it's a thought I had. Yeah.
People like us, martial arts school.
Yeah, discipline school.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I have to learn martial arts first.
I know, if you're going to teach it, man.
Yeah, there was some nasty kids at my school. Like, did you have nasty kids at your school?
Yeah, I think, I wasn't in many fights at school, but I was definitely, I think when it comes to bullying, the brunt of it that I took was more like the verbal kind of, the psychological kind of side of it where, I was definitely cast out in certain areas of it, which was nasty, but yeah.
Part of growing up.
I know there was kids who definitely had it a lot worse than me. There's that side of it, I've seen kids get punched and stuff who were just walking idly by for one reason or another, homophobes and all that sort of jazz. I think when you're in a mix of kids like that and they all come from different backgrounds and have different parents with different ideals that have an impact on you, there's always going to be bullies.
Yeah.
But you're right, self-defense classes, bit of jiu-jitsu in there.
It'd help, right?
Help a lot of kids, yeah.
Help.
I think so.
Yeah. There's some nutters in schools, like. There's some nutters.
And I think, in your formative years as well, that has a lasting impact on you, I think.
Oh, totally.
Like, you can't underestimate how much having a bully at school can really disrupt somebody for the rest of their life. You might think, at least you're only in school for 5 years. Those 5 years are fucking crucial.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
Might be a way of thinking, Might be a good idea to do this. Right, we should write to Richie.
I'll send a letter. Yeah. I'll write.
Get his email or something. Just have a walk down there.
Yeah.
Just have a drive down.
Knock on the door.
Yeah.
Oh, Richie. Got an idea, mate.
Yeah, listen to this. Yeah, you can have it, We can have it.
Yeah.
I don't want any praise.
We don't need credit for it,
No.
Yeah, just...
No. I think it'd be good for people.
Yeah. Fit this in your budget, mate. Jiu-jitsu across the country.
Listen to this. I had a murderer in my school.
Fuck off.
Swear down. Proper murderer. I won't name drop or anything. But there was this kid. He wasn't a murderer at school. However, looking back, he makes sense, let's just say. This particular kid ended up with a problem with me, of all people.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. He was a strange guy because he wasn't a tough guy. He wasn't classed as hard, I guess would be the word. He was just raged. Straight up mental. I can remember him taking shits in the corridor. Like,
fucking
he was straight loony. And I remember this one time, and at the time didn't seem like much, but what happened in years following it is when I look back, it's more dangerous. I ended up with a bit of a conflict with him, me and this kid. I was the one that he didn't like a lot.
He just decided
He just decided.
You're the guy.
Yeah. Now, I wasn't scared of him in the way of I thought he could beat me up. I thought it was 50-50, let's say. But I was scared of him about what he would do. because he wasn't bothered. So I remember this one time being face to face with him and having this, he was outside my house causing... The kids at my school, it was different. It wasn't like behind the scenes. It was straight, blatant, like straight in front of the house, the middle of the road type stuff.
Oh,
like
so like it wasn't even confined to school either. It was like following your home shit.
It was worse outside of school.
Fucking hell.
This was on a night. Jeez. This wasn't during the day. Things like this happened all the time. It was a very, very strange place where we were from in this particular point in time. It's nicer now, but it was a rough year. Like, and there was this one time this kid was outside my house. He must, I'd love to say he was off his nut on summit. He wasn't. This was just him. This is what he was like, and he was yielding a knife, right? He had a knife, and there was this like, my memory's vague. Obviously, it was quite traumatic, so like my memory is quite vague and selective on it. But there was a situation where I think my stepdad, and I think my mum was in the house watching. And there was this psychopath kid and a couple of the cronies he was with, and we were all sort of like out on the road. I think my stepdad, I suppose I call him my dad as well, he was playing war with him sort of thing, but keeping his distance because this kid had a knife, and everybody knew about this kid. Like, everybody knew this kid was a maniac. Do you know what I mean? And there was just like weird standoff where like, he didn't stab anyone, he didn't slash anybody in this story, but like he could have. Mm-hmm. And, at this point in time, he hadn't really done anything murderous. He was just a wild kid.
Just a few red flags popping up.
Yeah, just a few red flags, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this sort of stuff happened all the time. But later on, it must have been about 10 or 12 years after school, something like that, just one day, I remember getting sent an article that he had killed somebody.
Fucking hell.
There'd been a situation where he'd been with his friend, I guess, in a house. They were, I imagine, taking substances, having a damn good night. And this kid bludgeoned his friend to death with a hammer.
His friend.
And then
fucking hell.
hid the body in some wasteland near the house. Buried it, covered it up. There was a big police search for this kid. He was questioned. He denied any knowledge of it. And the horrible ending to the story is that the dead kid's dad went looking for him, and he found him buried. Yeah. That's and again, the reason I'm mentioning this is not for a shock factor in the story. Of course, it is very shocking. It's very, very, very shocking, very horrible for that gentleman that found his son. And just making the point where the school was rough. The reason I make that point is possibly this young man who, was obviously a wrong-un. He was obviously unwell. Mm-hmm. I happen to know he didn't really come from a great family. He wasn't raised well. And I haven't been able to think like this until I've got older. But now I'm older, like I look, was it his fault? Why he was like that? Was he given the nurturing he needed?
Yeah.
I'm lucky. Obviously, you were lucky. You were lucky. We had good nurturing, different worlds, obviously, but we were all, nurtured very well by mums and people around me and stuff like that. But again, just bring it back to the whole discipline thing. Like, I think this young man probably could have.
He was let down. Really.
I think so.
If we got the help earlier to level him out, give him a better moral compass, and maybe settle him down.
The people like us, discipline school.
Yeah, it would have.
A bit of piano lesson and shit like that.
Well, not just that. I think in this potential school that we're talking about, that's when you'd have the right people there to pick up on people who this lad's clearly not mentally well, and this would be a scenario where
there should have been an intervention.
Yeah, the right people would be able to, pick up on that and say, right, this kid, he's did several red flags now, and I think we need to get him support or some, even in It sounds like some form of psych ward.
You know, I would imagine that there are plenty of support systems in place like that, but I would imagine that those systems are overrun.
Oh yeah,
And I
massively.
imagine that's why some people slip through the gaps.
Yeah, and
It's
these stories are just horrifying, aren't they?
It's also like circumstance as well, you know. Like he could have been like a slip through the netter. Like the schools, I only met him in comprehensive school. Obviously, he went to a different junior school to me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Certainly, I can vouch for Branksome, the school I went to. I wasn't going to say that, but I went to Branksome. I know he was just, at that point, he was just a bad lad, you know, just constantly getting expelled and put in isolation and stuff like that.
You say he took a shit in a corridor.
He did that once, yeah. I don't know if he ever got caught for it, but I watched him do
Just
it.
a shit there. Like,
Yeah.
Don't know whose that is.
Well, he
Yeah,
put,
you don't sprag on that lad, do you?
He actually, you know, he was quite beautiful. He got a pen and like stood it in it,
Oh, that's
just like that.
Oh, it's art then.
I can remember.
That's what he thought of his
Wasted,
that's what he thought of his homework.
Yeah, yeah, but he was obviously let down, wasn't he? You know, he was obviously let down by the system, obviously let down by everything, and it wasn't picked up on. You
Yeah.
know, that young man, I think he committed that crime when he was about 30. You know,
Right.
yeah, so it was quite a bit later, and nobody's, maybe 28 he was, something like that. I don't know.
It's a weird thing. I know. I wonder where you draw the line on it. Is, you know, the circumstances of your birth are kind of, you know, down to luck.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, for all he had a bad time of things, his parents didn't put the hammer in his hand. You know what I
No.
mean? He made that decision.
He did.
So it's like, where do we draw the line and say, oh, it's his parents' fault? And where do you say it's his fault?
I don't think it was his parents' fault.
No.
And I don't think it was his fault either. What I think it was the bit in the middle. And I think the system let him down. You know, there's supposed to be things in place for people who have bad upbringings, from bad neighbourhoods, from deprived this and not given the nurturing and discipline and love and whatever that they need. I remember his dad. His dad was a pisshead. Do you know, like his dad was a druggie. I knew who his dad was.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he lived with just his dad. It was messy. Do you know what I mean? He was a shithole.
Makes sense.
It was a shithole.
Yeah.
And I don't know this to be a fact, but I'd like to think that if that was picked up on as a 3, 4, 5-year-old, and he was given the best of the best of the best version of free care, that, you know, non-expense care. You know, if the government properly turns out, look, this could be this, you know, we need to nurture this person, we need to care for these people step in, people intervene where they can properly. I like to think that wouldn't have happened, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a story about why I think kids should have some discipline, you know?
It's a strong argument.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Can't exactly sit there and just go, nah, it's fine, man. Of course I'm going to agree.
Yeah, if that don't reinforce your point, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
Right, like.
Yeah.
Can I wee again?
You
go.
can, yeah.
Hiya.
Did you have a good piss, mate?
It was all right. We've run out of toilet roll.
Oh, you need to go home and have a shower, don't you?
I'm a dabber.
Yeah.
You know, I like to dab. I know some people don't.
Yeah, I'm disgusting. I don't.
No.
No, I'm a shaker-offerer. You gotta be a
I'm-
shaker-offerer.
You know, I can be I just have been a shaker offerer. But I always think there's always that like extra drip. You know?
I'm a dabber.
Yeah. It just
I
makes
think-
you feel more comfy.
Yeah.
Fair.
You
You know
know.
what? I feel like I go through a phase. Right, this is a weird thing. I go through a phase. Like I'll go through like there'll be like a week in every 3 months or something like that where I feel like I need a dab, and then that week will pass, and then I'll be like, I don't feel like I need a dab anymore. But then I'll go through like a leaky dick week. Let's call it
dick week.
Let's call it that, right? I'm gonna name it that. Leaky dick week, right? Where you just think like they're shaking it off, ain't doing it this week. I'm gonna dab, and then you know that week will pass, and then I'll be like
Dry dick week.
dry dick week.
I must have consistent leaky dick weeks.
I have, yeah.
Maybe I
Yeah.
don't know. You know, maybe it's just
consistent
just noticing
consistent
stuff.
dab
I'm
with me,
just-
like
So you're
You know,
flippy
I make
flopper.
observations based on things that happen in my life, and that's just
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that I've observed that happens
No,
to me.
You're a literal person.
Yeah.
You know, it's literally happening.
Yeah.
I'm
You know.
impressed. You're very in tune with your bees. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I wonder what's causing the wave, why it's off and on.
Position of the moon or something, maybe.
It could be.
Full moon.
Full moons and
Leaky
that.
dick.
Leaky
Maybe.
dick, yeah,
Maybe.
could be.
You know, interesting. My mum works for. She's a social worker,
Okay.
and she's mentioned this before a couple of times. When there's a full moon, they get a rise in phone calls.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that with Mum NHS.
Mm.
More stuff goes down.
Yeah.
Like
People
the
can
wards,
fucking
people get a
divvy
little bit
when there's a full
restless.
moon.
I know a few people in my life that like swear by this moon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard that.
No, it's literally a thing among all the social workers that she works with. Where full moon, it's just like it's gonna be a busy one.
Let's have a look at this, Southpaw. What's
Yeah.
crack with this moon stuff? So there's a full moon, like more people go wild, basically.
I think, yeah, effectively.
Is it?
Weird
Huh.
thing. I mean, this is probably gonna say it's.
There's a word.
This is going to say no, but
Oh,
I mean, my mum's noticed a correlation.
people anecdotally report that the full moon affects their mood, but the existing research does not support this claim. Hang on. In all 1985, the meta-analysis found no connection between phases of the moon and mental health admissions to hospital, for example.
No, but you hear it said a lot.
You
I've heard this
do.
a few times.
You do hear it said a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There must be something in it. If something's said that much, then there must be something in it, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I admit the people I've heard it with more are ladies. That's who
Who believe in that sort of stuff.
not believe in it, but who can be affected by the moons.
Ooh, that would be interesting. See if there's a gender analysis on this sort of thing. So the calls, there's a rise in calls, but they're all relating or mostly relating to women. That would be an interesting stat.
Is it more women than men that report this? I wonder.
Well, I think it's.
How does the moon
certainly
affect
mums
females?
are.
God.
Oh, we're going to go down a rabbit hole there, aren't we?
Menstruation is also affected by shifts in the moon's gravitational pull.
Is there anything? It doesn't say anything here about leaky dick week.
No.
Unfortunately.
But it says some people do believe the moon that affects the menstrual cycle. Research on this point has reached mixed or weak conclusions.
Look, I don't know. I'm not affected by the moon. Are you affected by the moon?
Not that I've noticed.
Apart from the leaky dick.
I don't pay
apart
that
from
much
the-
attention to it though. So like
No.
you know, I'll start looking out for it now. If I have a leaky dick week, I'm going to look out at the moon and be like, half moon.
Half moon, half leak.
That's where it's at. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no dabs this week.
No dabs. What do you think about this thing? I tell you where it came from. Is I got sent the story about this Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner. I admit I don't really know these people, but it was just more about that they'd been divorced or something.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't interested in their life or their divorce, but it did make me think, like, you know, like marriage and stuff.
Marriage.
Like, obviously, you mentioned that it's on the cards for
I'm
you.
engaged. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exciting.
it's sacred, right? Marriage. To what level do you believe that? To what level do you think marriage is forever? Like divorce. I don't think divorce is cool. Other than like if you're, yeah, granted, look, some people can get married and they can be like physically abused or abused in some way. Then yeah, of course, then people can change.
Yeah.
You know, I get that. But failing that, like, a lot of celebrities trying to like get divorced and stuff, like over like what seem like trivial things, just fallouts and stuff. Like, shouldn't you like you made a commitment to marry each other? Shouldn't you like work on it?
Well, I think a lot of people get married just on a whim. I think that marriage should be it's a big decision, and it should be a big decision, and you should put a lot of thought into it before you just run yourself into it. But it's also, I suppose it's also an expensive decision. And once you commit into that and you get into that cycle, if you decide as you're heading towards that, I don't want to do this anymore, it's hard to get out of it. And then, you might sit and accept life the way it is, and then you get miserable and then divorce. And I think it's very easy for people to fall into that trap.
says here the divorce rate in the United Kingdom is estimated at 42%,
Gosh.
with many believing these rates have increased in recent years.
What do you mean, like, many believing? Isn't the data to show that? Wouldn't it be like data shows that?
It does show that, but many believe the rates have increased in recent years for unreasonable
Source
behaviour.
of standard.co.uk. So.
Yeah.
Huh. What's standard?
Never heard of it. Exactly.
Oh, it's
so.
the Evening Standard.
Evening
It's
Standard.
paper, right? Newspaper.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know. I've never read it.
With apparently adultery, cheating being one of the 14%. The results.
That and money. That would be the two things. I bet that's
Yeah.
99%.
I bet it's higher than 14 cheating.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I bet you 45% of marriages break up because of cheating and 45% of marriages break up because of money.
Where's the other 10? What's that?
Other.
Right.
You know.
They tick the other section.
Yeah.
Murder.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
other. There'll be, that's my guess.
Yeah. We've done murder today.
But yeah, no, just that, obviously, I've got a family like the rest of us, and I don't know if you guys were lucky enough to know, like, your great nana and granddads. I was. So it was like my nana and granddad's, well, my nana's mum and dad.
Yeah.
And they had one of those marriages, like married during wartime,
Right.
Second World War marriage sort of thing, like that time. I'm sure, am I right? Did we see their 70th wedding anniversary or something, or 60, or was it 50th?
Oof.
I don't know. They were married at least 50 to 60 years. Yeah, I remember. Is it a golden wedding? It's the 50-year anniversary.
Oh God, don't ask me. No
Yeah.
idea. But
I can remember
a long,
that.
long time. That's
But that 50th wedding anniversary when I was a little kid, and they lived like 10 or 15 years past that. So God knows where they ended up.
beautiful.
Yeah,
man.
it's a 50th wedding.
Yeah, well, I was a little boy when this happened, and Granddad died when I was about 23. So I
Your
don't.
great granddad.
Yeah, great granddad.
Yeah.
He was in his 90s then. But their marriage, like, it's different to a normal marriage. It was like a team. They were just like a unit. They were like a single thing. They were individuals, but it was like, it's Nana and Granddad. It was like, the way they worked was right. And I'm not saying they always agreed. I can remember.
But you just when you've seen them, they were like a tight unit, like a unbreakable kind of bond.
Unbreakable, yeah.
Yeah.
Unbreakable. Like, if you'd have said divorce to them, it wasn't like in their vocabulary. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't even a thing. It wasn't
Yeah.
even like what you talk like that.
Wasn't a conversation.
It's not even a thing. It's ridiculous. Like, they'd made the decision. I think they'd only known each other like a few years when they got married.
Yeah.
And I just think it probably, bring me back to something that we said about when I talked to Ben in here before about soulmates and shit. I don't know if I'll ask you the same question. Do you believe in soulmates?
Yeah, I think so.
You believe there's one or many?
Many.
Me too. I dare say a lot of people believe in that.
Yeah.
That seems about right. I believe you can be a soulmate with somebody, and I believe that statistically speaking, there's probably a hell of a lot in this planet that could be your soulmate.
Yeah,
And if you're lucky enough to find one, great.
I agree.
And I think if you've made the decision, barring those who just like get married in 2 weeks, idiots in my opinion, or probably should think about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think if you made the decision to marry somebody and you've known them a little while and you've planned this and thingy, you obviously like them enough, they might class as a soulmate.
Yeah.
If you've gone that far with them,
Yeah.
to get married. I guess there'd be different levels of it. There'd be like people who've like been together for 20 years and get married, people who've been together for 3 years. Look, you've made a decision to get married, right? And you've committed to each other. You put those rings on the finger. If you I don't know, I think you should be sure about what you're saying. I think you should understand what that means,
And I think a lot of people don't, which is why it ends up in divorce. I think a lot of people,
Yeah.
they just get married because it's a thing to do, but they don't really understand what they get themselves into.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't speak from experience. Obviously, I've never been married or anything, but I just think, you look at Nana and Granddad, and my Nana and Granddad, and like, I bet they went through things. I bet they went through stuff that,
Yeah.
modern day people might might get divorced for and stuff like that. I don't know.
True. Yeah.
You know, and I just think it's a dying thing, that, isn't it? That marriage sacredness.
Oh, monogamy.
Is that what that's called? Monogamy? Yeah.
When you stay together.
Yeah. Like, if you have a disagreement and you fall out about something and you might work on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Work on it. Divorce, you know, I think divorce can be sometimes jumped into, as can marriage, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like from my perspective.
In both ways, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that's what I was drawn to when I seen this daft thing, this Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner thing.
Yeah. You know, I've been with Misha, we're staring at 10 years together at this point, you know. Very, very certain that, you know, I'm not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere. We're very, very, very sound.
Yeah.
And, you know, we balance each other out so well in so many areas of each other's lives. It's, you know, it works perfectly. It's great.
Perfect.
Yeah. Soulmates.
Soulmates.
It's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice. And, yeah, just that was the point I wanted to make. I just think people should... in my opinion, I think people should just try a little harder with each other. Yeah. You know? Stick together. Mm-hmm. 2 is better than 1, right?
Oh, I think so.
You know?
Yeah.
Good teams.
Certainly one of my kind of goals in my 20s was to get to find the one, if you like. You know, I'd seen it, you know, I grew up with my mum and dad who've been stable as hell. You know, what you describe of your great grandparents where they were just a unit. I've seen that my whole life. It's never ever occurred to me that their relationship was ever anything below perfect.
Really?
They've been sound, yeah.
Wow.
There's never been a rocky moment in that, I wouldn't have thought. Mm-mm. You know? Unless it was hidden from me, who knows, you know? But it's always seemed pretty damn spot on to me. And, you know, I seen it from my brother. He's just had a baby yesterday.
Congratulations.
Him and his girlfriend, they got together, him and his wife, they got together back end of, I think it was early sixth form days.
Wow, that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
So how
old is he now?
He's 30, he's 2 years older than me. He's 31, 32 now.
So they've been together since they were 17, 18.
Yeah.
Much respect.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got married 2019. Having a baby now. And I think, like, you know, I seen him go through that from school, from sixth form. I wanted the same thing. I thought, oh my God, if I find the one, I can start building a life with this person and start heading towards the good stuff. And I think that's what I really set out as a goal for my 20s. I achieved that very early on. I was 20. And yeah.
Good going.
Yeah. And you're probably right. There's probably a lot of soulmates out there. Like, I'm under no illusions that, like, you know, if I'd never met Misha or if Misha didn't exist, I would have been alone forever. No, there would be somebody else who would come along who would take a hell of a lot of boxes. It would be a different kind of life, but I would be happy as well.
Totally.
You know? But, you know, when you do find somebody like that, it's best. It's mint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stick together, right?
Yeah. It just makes everything easier.
Of course it does. Build a team, build a little mini empire.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. Build your castle.
Work towards build your castle.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see a lot of these people, man, getting divorced and stuff like that. And you know, you fell in love once. Mm-hmm. You know, you were head over heels about each other. Barring, you know, physical or emotional or sexual abuse. You know, I bet most of them don't have that involved.
Yeah.
You know, if someone's now ended up with a drug problem or...
Well, I know people who've went through divorce who've had those sorts of problems where it's been, emotional abuse.
And that's fine.
Definite.
You know, that's get away from each other.
It's situational, of course. But, you know, there are a disproportionate amount where it's not even that. It's just...
irritating each other.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't know anything about Sophie Turner or... What is it, Joe Jonas? One of the Jonas brothers.
I don't know, so much.
It could have been something along those lines. You know, it could have been emotional abuse. It could have been something disgusting happened, you know. Mm. But it also, you know, you hear a hell of a lot of celebrity divorces, and I bet they aren't all for... I bet some of them are for silly reasons, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Just that was all. Just wanted to touch on it, and something that just rang in my head. So I wonder, is it as sacred as it used to be? When you got married in the 1940s and 50s, divorce wasn't on the cards.
No.
You know, not saying it never happened, but like next to never, almost never.
I feel like if you went through a divorce in those days, it was very like, you know, you didn't want to be telling people about it. It was a very closet thing where that's what I was looking for, shameful.
Yeah.
Kind of, it was very taboo.
Oh yeah, it was a bad look, societarily, if that's a word.
Yeah. Whereas nowadays, if you go through a divorce, it's just like, people look at you with sympathy, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so sorry.
There could be the other argument in that it's just came in my head as we've been talking about it. Obviously we said in the 1940s and 1950s, people didn't get divorced as much as now. But then let's flip it another way. Like, females and women and now have a sort of slightly different position in society than they did back then. You imagine if you're a 1940s woman, for the most part, you've never done a day's work in your life, you've got kids. I'm not sure if there was social security and stuff like that then. I'm not sure if there was council housing, You think, it was a lot tougher job, What were you going to do? Was the free childcare then? So you could go out and work,
For a single mother.
I bet there wasn't the support there is now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I have no idea.
I haven't, but I'm guessing.
I think you'd be right.
I think so. So maybe that might have a relationship to it. That it's more possible for people to divorce now.
Yeah.
For a woman to leave a man.
In which case, maybe it's a good thing. You know what I mean? It's giving people an out. If you're in a relationship where you're unhappy and you need to get out of it, for all you've made that commitment in marriage, if you're happy, do what makes you happy, man.
I actually think through this conversation, my mind's sort of switched there.
Yeah.
Just as we've opened up that topic.
It is an interesting point, yeah.
I didn't think of that as I opened with that. But yeah, some people now have outs that they 50 years, 60 years ago wouldn't have had an out. Possibly that rise in divorce is a good thing. Who knows?
I mean, if we're being honest, in a perfect world, the rise in divorce wouldn't happen because people would be happy in their marriages.
In an ideal world.
In an ideal world, yeah. But
what does that look like? Ideal worlds, eh?
Yeah, you can argue that forever, I think, can't you?
Yeah, I think so. Just about. Yeah. There's a topic. Might explore that again sometime.
We'll circle back around to that at some point.
I think so. Yeah, well, you know what? I think we're going to leave it there for the day.
I agree.
Yeah?
It's good. It's been nice.
It has.
Been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, my friend. See you next week.
See you after.